story. You know this life meant for me. Yeah, why would you bet on Goliath when we got Bet David? Valuetainment, giving values contagious. This world of entrepreneurs, we get no value to haters. How they run, homie, look what I become. I'm the one.
You guys all hear me, see me? Vinny, Tom, Adam, can we hear each other, see each other?
Yep, I can hear you.
Yes, sir. Merry Christmas. Looking good, gentlemen.
Everybody, we're all over the place, but we were able to figure it out. Where we are right now, it's very early. The sun is coming out, which is great, but we wanted to make sure we kept this time with you guys to be with you on Christmas. So everybody that's with us early this morning, Merry Christmas to y'all. Hopefully Santa came through for you. Hopefully you guys have good memories. Last night, yesterday, we had a good time. It was a little bit of a rough night for me because, Vinny, I really didn't want to talk about this, but yesterday we were playing Hold'em poker and my 12-year-old son, one by one, eliminated everybody. And then he took me out because the river was a 7 and we went all in and it was game over. It's documented. I'm not sure if I'm comfortable sharing that. We were having Christmas. We're doing our thing. We went skeet shooting. We had a good time doing our thing there, and then we try to go skiing. First time of my life skiing. I typically snowboard. I'm so glad nobody was recording when I was skiing. Vinny was, but there was a couple things that happened with Vinny and I that it's great that we were not wearing Future Looks Bright gear when we were skiing, Vinny.
Yes.
It's been horrible.
Embarrassing.
Credibility for the ski. Not you, me here, but we're safe and sound here with you guys. And although many of you may have had a Merry Christmas, some of the people who are part of this one clique, some people call it a gang, some people call it a terrorist organization called ISIS, they had a rough Christmas yesterday because the president decided on Christmas to attack the ISIS organization in Nigeria that are killing many innocent Christians, and eventually, a lot of attention came to it that the president decided to attack them on Christmas. And with the request from the Nigerian government, by the way, and FYI, expect all over the news today and on Monday, podcasters, YouTubers, the news media, everybody talking about, I thought we were for no war. I thought we're not, which, by the way, it's a great topic to debate. Was this a good move or not? We'll have that conversation here ourselves as well. Aside from that, a couple different things that we want to go through with you news-wise. The Minnesota fraud thing is not getting any prettier. It's getting worse. They're just digging themselves a grave. More things that are being found. Vinny's got some stuff that he wants to share with you guys. One of the stories I think Vinny you got is of Nick Shirley of Minnesota, what he found, and I'm sure.
Amazing video.
Everybody, by the way, you guys remember the last 6 months, people would send me videos of like, Pat, this is not you in this video, this AI video that Facebook keeps approving. We would report. It's like, I have some stock tips that's going to give you again. I'm like, that is not me speaking. And we reported hundreds of times. Facebook never did anything about it. Well, guess what? Story just came out that Meta made $16 billion allowing these companies to run AI scams that scammed so many different people using AI. They know this is not the real people that are talking, but they allowed that to happen. $16 billion, horrible look on Facebook that they knew you have the technology to tell that this is fake, and you still allowed it to happen. We're definitely going to talk about that. Trump lashes out at Stephen Colbert and urges CBS to put him to sleep. Apparently, Colbert, I don't know why some stories are coming out with him and Epstein. We'll cover that. Trump's booming U.S. economy. Obviously, the left is not happy. They're miserable that they have to report that the economy is doing better. And, challenges that they were facing. It's the best in 2 years. We'll cover that, whether it's good for everybody or if it's just good for the rich, if it's good for people who have equities, those who don't have equities. We'll cover that. Tom's got a lot of thoughts on that. Trump calls New York Times a threat to national security in the late night social media rant. Jimmy Kimmel made a video on Christmas, which, Vinny, you were bringing up a minute ago, talking about how, hey, I don't know what's going on over there in your country, UK, but I can tell you, we don't look familiar. We don't look normal right now in America. We have this guy in the White House who doesn't like me because he wants me to like him and adore him, and I don't adore him. You just have to kind of watch this video. It's a different kind of a video by Jimmy. Stephen Miller calls CBS News to fire 60 Minutes producer over the revolt. And then there's a bunch of things going on with Bari, Weiss, and Megyn Kelly, which we'll definitely get into. Apparently now Megyn Kelly said her and Ben Shapiro are not friends a week ago or 2 weeks ago. Now her and Bari Weiss are not friends, who Bari Weiss is now a heavyweight at CBS. So that's a big story. Trump said it would be smart for Maduro to give up power, is what he says. We'll cover that. There's a revival of the Greenland takeover this May of Denmark, which we'll cover that as well. Failing grades for Newsom from his own state auditor. And by the way, Newsom, Vinny's got a story that wants to cover on the scheme that's going on over there in California. And then we have Putin's army suffers the bloodiest year yet as military prepares for prolonged war. No confidence Ukraine and Russia will reach a peace deal, Vance says. Think about it. The VP says they don't have any confidence that those two are going to reach a peace deal. So what do you do now? You lost leverage, right? You said day one, that's going to be done. So the people that are disputing and saying, well, wait a minute, I thought it's going to be done in day one. That is a fair topic for people to debate and push back on, because that was one of the promises that the president made. And we'll discuss that as well. Federal judge strikes down gender secrecy policies in California public schools. Remember that whole story where if your kid wants to transition and they're doing anything, that the teachers don't have to tell the parents, and that we kept there. It's none of your business, parents, because it's a village. It takes a village, and us, part of the village. You don't need to say anything. It's our kids as well. It's not just your kids. Well, there's something that happened there that Tom's going to talk about. Some terrible news for Democrats. Murder in the U.S. is down 20%. Likely the largest single year drop ever. Let me say it again. Murder is down 20% from 2024 under Biden to now. Murder is down 20%. I'm sure the left is not happy, because that statistic shows that America's safer under this administration than it was under Biden administration. And by the way, Biden must have had a horrible Christmas, because his son went on a podcast with Sean Ryan and called him out. I don't know what the hell was going on with Afghanistan. All that. He pretty much threw his entire dad under the bus. So can you imagine this guy? He hooks up with his brother's widowed wife, okay? They do drugs together, allegedly. Now he says that laptop is a fake thing. Now he puts his dad under the bus. What a shit show of what they're going. Imagine their Christmas. How you doing, son? Very good, Dad. I just talked a bunch of shit about you yesterday on Sean Ryan, but it was great. Can we have some dinner and play some cards together? Yeah, let's do it, baby. What a weird situation that must be. And then we got some stuff. Minnesota Dems, we'll cover that. ICE, there's a video for that if we have the time. We'll get into it. Retirement accounts roared back in 2025 after punishing losses during the Biden era. And then we have to cover the Nicki Minaj quits Instagram after the TPUSA. Adam's got some thoughts on that. Logan Paul gives some advice about finances, which he got some pushback. And then last but not least, Joe Rogan gave some chilling advice to Jake Paul, which I actually appreciate that advice was given to them. Having said that, folks, this is a message I'm going to give to you all year long in 2026. All year long in 2026. There is nothing more exciting than when I run into people that are wearing this gear, Merry Christmas, boldly. Mario's been wearing this every day wherever he's going. The VT gear here, the future looks bright. And when you open it up here, it says future looks bright. I love seeing the future looks bright hat that Tom's got on, or you got the faith over fear gear. Record-breaking number of people are wearing the merch gear that we have with us. And there's some massive announcements that I'll be making here very, very soon to you guys, what our plans are going into 2026 with this of VT merch. We want tens of millions of people to represent this gear. My suggestion to you, wear these things boldly. If you support our brand, you like what we do, you don't want us to take money from Qatar or some of these other organizations that are coming and offering money to own podcasts and shows, I highly recommend you support brands that are able to give their opinions and thoughts freely. And if you believe the future looks bright like we do, I am certain the future looks bright. Let me give you guys a crazy story. In 1997, Apple did $816 million of losses. Their top line revenue in 1997, they lost $816 million in 1997. Today, Apple makes $1.1 billion per day.
Wow.
They lost $1 billion in a year in 97. Today, they make $1.1 billion a day. They believe the future looks bright. Now they're a $4 trillion organization. For us, for some of you guys that may be celebrating Christmas, and honestly, maybe things weren't going right for you. Maybe I've had the Christmas when I'm sitting, I'm like, is anything going to turn around for me? Is life going to change at all? Like, is this how it's going to be? And what am I going to get my break? You know that feeling how like you feel like, man, like you're carrying a lot, like the feeling of you go to Christmas and everybody's giving gifts. And it's like that one movie, 4 Christmases, where Dallas, Denver, all the brothers come in, and Vince Vaughn is the big brother that's making all this money now. And he brings the recent Xbox and he brings all this stuff. And he says, did you not see the minimum of $10? And the other guy a flashlight. I don't know if you guys remember that scene. Sometimes that may be the Christmas. Things are not going right for you. Yesterday, Vinny was sharing a story with me, which is an incredible, incredible story that I want to share with you guys, which is what we believe in. Have you ever heard of a guy named Jack Strauss? You ever heard of Jack Strauss? Can you do me a favor, Humberto? Type in Jack Strauss, then put poker. Jack Strauss, S-T-R-A-U-S-S, and type in poker. Craziest story of Jack Strauss. One day, Jack Strauss in 1982, this man that Humberto is about to pull up his picture because Humberto is so fast and quick and phenomenal. This guy's playing poker in 1982. He's in a World Series poker tournament, okay? Right there. That man right there. Zoom in a little bit. He's in the 1982 World Series poker. You know the big tournament that people win $10 million? In 1982, that guy right there is getting off the table because he called all in and he has no chips left. He's thinking. He gets up to leave. And then all of a sudden they say, no, Jack, you have one last $500 chip left. He says, you're kidding me. They said, no. All right. I mean, you only got one chip left, $500, which is what? Nothing. He takes the $500 chip and he keeps doubling it and doubling it and doubling it and doubling it. You know what ends up happening to him? He wins the flipping 82 World Series poker.
Wow.
Did you hear the story? Well, some of you are watching this. You're like, dude, I'm down to my last chip. I'm trying to figure life out. I went all into my business. I took money out of my 401k. My wife and I wanted to start a restaurant. We did this. This Christmas was rough. We stayed home. We didn't go anywhere. We got some basic gifts, $10 Amazon gift cards. Life can turn around if you think long-term. That's what we believe in. That's what happened to every single one of us because we believe the future looks bright. So if you believe the future looks bright and you support our brand, go to vtmerch.com, place an order for yourself, whether it's the Merry Christmas gear, whether it's the future looks bright, faith over fear, or the shoes, FLB. We're excited about big plans we got in 2026, and I'll tell you more about it in the first week that we do the podcast in January of 2026. Having said that, let's get right into it. Humberto, I want to start off with the first story, which is the attack that happened yesterday in Christmas, Nigeria. U.S. launches powerful strikes against Islamic State in Nigeria, Trump says. Now, keep in mind, this is on Christmas Day. So, Humberto, if you want to pull up the actual tweet from the president, President Trump has said that the U.S. launched a powerful and deadly strike against the Islamic State group in northwestern Nigeria. The U.S. leader described it as a terrorist scum, accusing the group of targeting and viciously killing primarily innocent Christians. Trump said the U.S. military executed numerous perfect strikes, while the U.S. Africa Command later reported that Thursday's attack was carried out in coordination with Nigeria in Sokoto State. Nigerian Foreign Minister Joseph Maitama Tuggar told the BBC it was a joint operation. So to all the people that are saying he did this by himself, he cannot, no, they asked for help. The president came and supported it. And they told BBC it was a joint operation targeting terrorists, and it has nothing to do with a particular religion, without naming IS, which is ISIS, the Islamic State northwestern Nigeria group. Specifically, Tuggar said that the operation had been planned for quite some time and had used intelligence information provided by the Nigerian side. The minister did not rule out further strikes, adding that this depended on decisions to be taken by the leadership of the two countries. In this post on Truth Social later Thursday, Trump said that under my leadership, our country will not allow radical Islamic terrorism to prosper. In November, Trump ordered the U.S. military to prepare for action in Nigeria to tackle Islamist military group. Humberto, do you have the video of the clip of what happened? Do you have the video? While you're pulling that up, Vinny, I'll come to you first. What are your thoughts about what happened yesterday? Remember this, Vinny. Here's what people are going to say. I thought they said no more wars. What is this all about? How come this? How come that? And these are good arguments. These are good topics to debate. Where do you stand with this?
And Pat, let them argue. Let them complain. Let them cry. Let them whine. You know who's not whining and who's not complaining today? You know who's not, Pat? All the Nigerian families who have been getting slaughtered and murdered in church. These aren't enemy combatants. They're not holding up arms. They're in church praying to God in Jesus Christ, Pat. You already know this is an emotional topic for me, but these Islamic terrorists always try to use our Christian holidays to instill fear. I absolutely love that the president chose Christmas to instill fear into theirs, okay? No more playing games, no more, okay? And that's the launch. That's the launch off of one of our battle crews. Good for them, okay? They're gonna think twice once they go in this church with women, children, everybody praying. It's about time, Pat. And people are gonna say, no new wars. I already know the same old cast, no new wars. This isn't a war, okay? This is an intervention with their government. How's it a war if the government of the country that you're attacking is in on it? No, this is an ISIS problem, okay? And this is, guys, this is what leadership looks like. And finally, somebody is sticking up for the Christians. Everybody else has somebody sticking up for them, whether it be, you know, Jewish or whatever it is, okay? And today, the same people are going to complain. Go ahead. Go and complain. Nobody cares. The Christians don't care. And guess what? You know, people are like, well, Christianity is about love and peace. Yeah, it is. But we're not supposed to lay down and get murdered, Pat. I think this is such an amazing move by the president. And what a great tactical move on Christmas. Who would have thought? You think they're sitting there going, oh, they're going to attack us on Jesus Christ's birthday? No. Pat, this is one of the best news that I've heard in a while. And Nicki Minaj's voice, all of us talking on this podcast, it got to the president and they heard it, Pat. I'm so happy.
Adam, what do you think about this? Great feedback there, Vinny. Adam, where are you at with this?
Of course. I mean, you know the famous phrase, not all Muslims are terrorists. But if you're just connecting dots here, all terrorists are Islamic extremists. I'm sorry to say this, but if you just look at the math, look at the data, the top 10 terrorist networks in the world all happen to be Islamists. Okay, so let me just run down this list real quick. Maybe you've heard of these groups. So you have ISIS, you have Al-Qaeda, you have Islamic Jihad, you have the Taliban, you have Boko Haram, which is in Nigeria, you have ISIS-K, they did the bombing, I believe, in Russia not too long ago. Hezbollah, Hamas, for you ladies and gentlemen, that think they're a peaceful organization. Al-Shabaab, the Houthis in Yemen, and Islamic Jihad in Palestine, that's rounding out the list. So again, not all Muslims are terrorists. I have Muslim friends, I have Arab friends, I have friends from all over the world. But let's just connect some dots here and explain there is a terrorism problem within Islam. Now, Nigeria is the latest, but we saw what happened in Syria. We're seeing what's happening all around the world. I feel like I'm in the movie Zoolander, where I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, where it's the same story over and over again. And the biggest problem is you have these weak leaders, these weak, feckless losers in the West who are like, come on, guys, let's be tolerant. And then boom, their society explodes.
By the way, I want you to watch this. If you watch this here, I have two clips for you, okay, of folks in Nigeria begging for help. Here's a pastor, a Nigerian pastor speaking out for help. Go ahead, Humberto.
Look at it today. Is there any Muslim here?
I can't hear it.
United Nations, I know you're watching it. American Senate, you are watching what I'm doing, I'm saying here. Special advisor to Trump. Now, please tell Trump to save our life in Nigeria. They are killing Christians in Nigeria, massacre Christians. If they say they kill Muslims, Muslims are being killed. By who? By Muslims. Look at it today.
So, by the way, this is one pastor, and Vinny, I sent it to you directly as well. But I have another one I want you to watch as well. It's another man here. This is a man. Here's a man who is saying, please come help us. Watch this, pleading for the president to show up. Go for it, Humberto.
Come and save Nigeria. We are facing a lot in this country. The terrorism, the Boko Haram, they are killing our brothers and sisters. The U.S. government, please come and save Nigeria. Don't mind whatever our leaders are saying. the terrorism, the Boko Haram, the banditry, they are killing our brothers everywhere in Nigerians. The killings is not only the Christians. They are killing both Muslims and Christians. They are killing everybody. The U.S. government.
You can pause it right there. Tom, where are you at with this? I mean, this is the people pleading for us to help them out.
Yeah, this is a success of leadership and a failure of leadership. And the first thing that I'll respond to real quick is to all those in the media and to all the pundits that are out there. They're saying, oh, no new wars, no new wars. This is not a war. We've already had a war on terror. We already have a war on ISIS. We are already going after that. This is a victory for the pressure that got put on a president, and his name is not Donald Trump. It's Bola Tinubu of Nigeria. Bola Tinubu in Nigeria said, oh, I welcome foreign aid. Send me arms. I need to fight. And the word he kept using was insurgents. And in November, after this podcast, and Nicki Minaj, God bless you for speaking to I think it was the ambassador's office of the UN. God bless you for doing that thing and raising it, because it reached Donald Trump's ears and he wasn't ignoring it. But then the president was saying, oh, Trump, I'll take your aid, I'll take your military stuff. I need to fight insurgencies. And finally, in December, just weeks ago, Bola Tinubu says there was no religious persecution. No, wait. We may have an issue with ISIS. We may have an issue with this. He flatly rejected claims of religious persecution. And now he came back and said, not only do you need your aid, I need your aid for ISIS, and I need it in ISIS because, well, yes, Christians are being persecuted. The pressure wasn't put on Trump. It was put on Bola Tinubu, who had pride, who had ego, and then said, yes, I need your help. I want your help. And with that green light, a friend, a country that we trade oil with and all these things says, I need help. Trump didn't start a war. He responded to a president that finally decided to help his own people.
Yeah, and you know, I know the debate is coming about, I thought no war. I know they're going to come attack the president nonstop all day today. And they're going to say, you know, this is your president. I'm so disappointed in my vote for him. And they're going to give that message. That'll come out. Now, keep in mind, Nicki Minaj, when you think about Nicki Minaj, she comes out, she's vocal about it. Keep in mind, guys, Nicki Minaj is not somebody that's got 3 million followers. Or Nicki Minaj is not somebody that coming out against this helped her business. On Twitter, she's got 26 million followers. On Instagram, I believe she had like 40 million followers. I don't know the exact number. If I go online and I type in Nicki Minaj on YouTube, if we type in Nicki Minaj music videos and we go to most views, okay? If I go and look at how many views, just to know her level of fame, not in the conservative right, just period in regular hip hop culture, 2.3 billion views, okay? Song. Next one, 2.1 billion views. Okay, next one, 2 billion views, 1.8 billion views, 1.7 billion views, 1.6 billion views. This is Nicki Minaj. She chooses to go to Turning Point USA, and she's been vocally talking about this. She goes, does the interview with Erica Kirk at Turning Point USA. Unlike Megyn Thee Stallion, who went out there, Nicki Minaj came up and did a great interview, you know, giving her thoughts on what's going on out there. Then all of a sudden, stories comes out that she lost 10 million followers, okay? When she lost the 10 million followers on Instagram, she decided after the backlash of going to Turning Point USA to shut down. I will verify this right now if it's truly shut down or not. You know, she allegedly shut down her Instagram account after all the challenges that she faced. Adam, I'm going to come to you here. How big of a deal is it for somebody with her level of fame in Hollywood, in music, in rap, in hip-hop culture, to come out and say, guys, I'm for Christians. I'm not with anything else. You guys can buy my albums or not. I'm for Christians. How big of a move is that? And how risky was it on her end?
Yeah, Nicki Minaj is not a star. She's not a rapper. She's a global superstar, arguably the greatest female rapper living today. Almost said lapper, but lap dance. But she has a massive platform. She has a massive voice. My assumption is this. You don't just show up at Turning Point, sit down with Erica Kirk, and then just wonder why I got all this backlash. She must have known this was coming. You have to. either you're oblivious or you're taking a stand for something. There's no in between here. It's not like somebody's going to be like, well, are you shocked by the response from a black female rapper, knowing what the Democratic Party is, knowing what Hollywood is, knowing what the rap world is, that you're going to receive this amount of backlash? Nobody was not expecting this. The level of 10 million being lost in a day? Wow. I mean, nobody has 10 million followers, much as losing that in a day. My assumption is she knew exactly what she was doing. If she got caught flat-footed and had no idea, that's on her. But if this was a planned out, coordinated, I'm standing for something or you'll fall for anything type of move, then respect to her. And don't forget, the biggest purpose of her doing this was she was calling out Gavin Newsom, as she calls it, and talking about how weak men are the detriment to society. So respect to Nicki, but if she didn't know this was coming, you got another thing coming.
Vinny, your thoughts?
Well, hey, Adam, sometimes, you know what I mean? Like your soul, and I get it. And Adam, we know people in the industry, especially in Hollywood. I lived there for God knows how long. It's a cult, okay? And they want, especially in the African American community with the rappers, and they want to keep everybody to wake people up to what's really happening and get their mindsets out of that whole, the Democratic Party loves me. It's not for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like to go out there on the ledge and go, wait a minute, the governor sucks. Okay, abortion is cool with everybody. President Trump is actually helping. They're helping with Nigeria and everything. That system will eat you up alive. What Kanye, and I'm not sticking up for Kanye West, but what I'm saying is, what was his first downfall? What was it? Wearing that red hat. Yeah. Wearing the freaking Donald Trump hat. They went after him like crazy. Okay, this is
Can't step out of line.
Tommy, yep, this is a brainwashed cult. I am so freaking proud of Nicki Minaj. I understand. Listen, it's not for everybody. We don't care. We're not, at that level, especially with industry. But as you guys know, man, these Michael Jackson, all these people that have been through it, once you're in there, once you're with Sony or whatever, I don't know what publishing she's with, but are you going to go against the great? Are you going to go up against us? No, they destroy people. They destroy people. And I saw Joe Budden's, Pat, went on a podcast and was like, Nicki Minaj is done. I'm done with her. Why? Why, Joe? Why? Because she's not going to keep that slave-ass mentality of just Democrat. Name me one thing that the Democrat Party has done for the African-American community. Go ahead. And I'm sick and tired. I'm so sick, Pat, of hearing racist, this, that. It's like, get on with it. There's nothing that this guy can do to make these people happy. I guarantee you, if Trump bombed a group of people that were talking bad about the LGBTQ community in Nigeria, they'd be like this. Oh, he's sticking up for the gays. Okay, but when it's for Christians, nothing. When Nicki's sticking up for Gavin Newsom, and we're going to get to him, he is going to go down as one of the worst governors. Worst, Pat. $70 billion scamming there. She talks up about it. She's talking about masculinity, and they're all going after her. I think she's going to be fine, Pat. But this isn't, like I said, for everybody. She's going to have to learn pretty quick that these people are disgusting and they're evil.
I don't know if she's going to be fine.
Here, give me a second. Let me just say something here. By the way, do you guys actually know how many followers Nicki Minaj had before she shut it down?
Probably 50 million.
223 million followers on Instagram.
Crazy.
Did you hear what I just said?
Is that top 10 in the world? Where is she ranked?
Top 10 in the world. She's top 10 in the world.
Wow.
223 million followers. And by the way, a lot of people are saying 10 million, but that was an Instagram post that was going viral. She only lost about 3 to 4 million, which some people may say 3 to 4 million is a lot. To lose 3 to 4 million on 223 million is not a big number. It's like losing 1.1% or 1.3%. So it is a number, but not as big of a number as people thought. I'm willing to bet she gained net positive tens of millions of followers. So the net positive kind of went like this as well. Christians finally have somebody that they can lean on that defends their, and specifically in Hollywood and in culture, hip hop, that defends them. So you got to give credit to that. Adam, you were going to say something.
No, I was going to say she lost followers, Nicki Minaj, but she gained respect. So I got to give her credit for that. But let's not get it twisted. This isn't like a typical black guy, like a rapper, like a Kanye who came out and supported Trump, or even a Lil Wayne, or even Pat's friend Kodak Blue, aka Kodak Black. This isn't 50 Cent saying, listen, man, I don't want to be 20 Cent. This is a black female. So I guarantee you, the majority of people who unfollowed her were female. because that's what women do. They get real emotional. But don't forget, who's the base of a Democratic Party? Typically black women. So she's going to have to deal with what the backlash of black women being like, damn, I can't believe you, Nicki. She's going to deal with that. So I hope she's ready for it. I think she knows what she's doing, but just in case she doesn't, get ready for it.
Tom, any thoughts?
No closing thoughts. I think she's more than ready for it, because I think there's people around Nicki. Look at what she did. She goes and speaks at the UN. She speaks to the UN. She's not just putting tweets. She's not just doing this. And that is more than doing an interview on TV. That is more than putting out a tweet. This is a woman who put it all the line there. And I think she sees what's coming. But I also think she sees the net positive, because the number of voices, I don't see the news articles right now saying, oh, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? About the Nigerian Christians. I see people that just don't want Trump to win at all costs, and they're willing to criticize her for that. But I think she's ready to do it. I think she's demonstrated she's tough, and you can't live a day in the music industry without being tough in the first place.
You know what I do respect? You guys know DJ Khaled, right? So DJ Khaled
We the best.
Okay, DJ Khaled is Palestinian.
Yes.
And the Palestinian community kept criticizing DJ Khaled for what? For not being vocal about being Palestinian, and never commented about it, apparently. And maybe he has, maybe he hasn't, but I've seen stuff that he's never said anything about it. And his community is like, wait a minute. Well, it's like, imagine something happens to Assyrians and, I don't comment on it. Okay, something happens to Armenians, you don't comment on it. So he got criticized for this, and has faced significant criticism for his silence on the Israel-Palestine conflict, especially regarding Gaza, with many accusing him of prioritizing his brand and endorsement over his heritage and humanitarian concerns. Fair criticism. Nobody can say that about Nicki Minaj.
Yep.
Correct.
Nicki Minaj, when you hear the statement, hey, to me, it's faith, family, country, then my occupation and what I do. You know what Nicki just put? Nicki just told the world, my faith comes first.
Yep.
And let me tell you, got to respect the hell out of that.
I love it.
You got to respect the hell out of that, even though she knows she just lost brand deals. You know she just lost the opportunity to perform Super Bowl halftime commercial, halftime stuff. That's the stuff. And now the way she's handling it, I like the way she's handling it, because she's not overly criticizing the opposing side. She's just saying, this is what's important to me. I want to be vocal about it. And I'm proud of her for the way she's handled this. So kudos to her.
Can I say one thing? Can I say one thing? I fully agree with you.
Saying I got to say one thing. We got to go. I got stories to go through. I got to go to the next story. Next story I want to get into is the following. Watch this, folks. Again, remember this. When you think about the criticism for the president, Nigeria attack, all this stuff. Then we go Nicki Minaj Christian. Then we go, what type of a president do you want? Think about this here. If you're watching this, you're a family person. You got wife, kids, husband, family, right? What is the number one thing that's most important to you? It starts with the letter F. Safety, security. Number one thing, most important. When a husband and wife live in a community, when we go into a community, we were looking at a community one time in Delray. Beautiful home. The house was just sold to a very well-known person. We were about to buy the same house. I go into that community. After we look at the house, it's an amazing house, 25,000 square feet. The closet was insane. The backyard looked like one of these hotels in Vegas, and that's where they got the design. But I leave the place, and I start seeing people walking in the community, and I'm asking, hey, so listen, we're looking at one of the houses, such and such property. We just looked at it with such and such realtor. What stories are there here? Well, there's nothing. It's a good safe. The only thing is there's a python that they still haven't found. I said, excuse me? Yeah, there's this python that they haven't found. Are you like, I'm waiting for her to laugh. Are you joking? No, there's a python that's killed a couple of small dogs. We got two small dogs, Jimbo and Cooch. I'm like, wait. So then I go to the security and I say, hey, just out of curiosity, I just heard a story from a couple of the people that live here. Is it true that there's a python that's, yeah, but it's only two dogs? I said, so this is a true story. Guys, I walked out. I said, babe, we're not buying this house. I'm not going to sit in the backyard and the kids are swimming in the pool. I have to go look for a python and hire security guards. We're not doing that, right? So watch this. Look at maybe the most important stat for average families that just want to make sure if their kids playing outside, they're safe. Look at the numbers that just came in. Murders in the U.S. are down nearly 20%, the largest single year drop ever. By the way, I need these things at this age. You see these?
There it is. There it is.
Put them on there. So if you want to take some shots and make fun of me, go at it. But I'm doing it. So page 16. All right, let's check this out. So here we go. The nationwide murder rates fell dramatically in 2025, likely the single largest drop ever recorded, according to new crime data. Killing in the U.S. plunged nearly 20% to last year, following a COVID-era spike in violence, according to Real-Time Crime Index. In total, there were 5,912 murders recorded in the U.S. between January and October of 2025. Same time last year under Biden, in 2024, 7,369. It's a remarkable drop in crime. The crime data analyst Jeff Asher noted it almost certainly fell at a historic clip in 2025, led by the largest one-year drop in murder ever recorded. The co-founder of data analytics, Datalytics, added the positive trend includes a more than 20% decline in New York City, 28% drop in Chicago, 28% in DC, where President Trump oversaw a massive crime crackdown. Murder in LA County fell also by nearly 19%, along with a 7.5% decrease in New Orleans. Meanwhile, mass murders in the U.S. also fell in 2025, reaching their lowest level since 2006, according to the index, which compiles data from 570 law enforcement agencies. So when you see this, you don't have to agree with a lot of things the president is doing. Do you want it to be safe for your kids when you're going out there doing your thing? Do you want a leader people fear that if, God forbid, they break the law, he's going to show up and he's going to say, no, we're not doing this? I think there's another story that's out there that they're considering sending people to New Orleans or Louisiana. I'll pause on this. I'll come to you first, Tom. Tom, your thoughts on the story with the murder being down 20%. How big of a deal is this, Tom?
This is a huge and very, very big deal, and I'll tell you why. It says that policing works. Remember, the president was asked by citizens in Chicago that held up signs, just like that man in Nigeria did. Remember this, Pat? People doing it, and a guy with a backpack, an African-American guy, appears that he's going to work, and he says, we need help here, we need help. And it's because defund the police led to a lack of safety, and then castrating the police led to a lack of safety. And then places like Los Angeles, you didn't need the National Guard there, but when you got national support for the police, remember, people in Portland and people in Minneapolis, there were more people wanting police back during the election, Democrats, independents, and conservatives, then were sitting still with the defund the police thing. Defund the police was still this Democrat slogan deep inside the far, far left that's against any authoritarianism because, spoiler alert, they want to be the authority over your life. They want your guns. They want your freedoms. They want your freedom of speech. That's what's going on. So what I see here, policing works. Policing absolutely worked. Although when the murder falls by 19% in Los Angeles, it's usually because a lot of the victims moved away, moved out of state. So there's probably a little immigration that helped, reverse immigration that helped that stat. But this is, I think, our very big statistics on the full year. And nobody wants to give credit for Trump. Why don't we just give credit for America being safer and giving credit for the fact that the people that live downtown, the people that live these things, maybe feel just a little bit safer today than they did 11 months ago. Remember, we're here at the end of the year. We're about to say Happy New Year next week. And then 3 weeks later, it's the anniversary of the inauguration. So don't say this was already happening under Biden. Don't say you were already making progress. No, the National Guard thing, and to the Supreme Court that said, no, he doesn't have authority to force the National Guard in. You've got governors like the governor of Louisiana, who has just been appointed to do some work in Greenland, who said, we need some help in New Orleans, Mr. President. Can you please help us? Just like the Nigerian president says, can you please help us? And so I think this is a really big stat. There's more work to do because there are 5,912 murders that happen, which means there's 5,912 groups of friends and family that are hurting because they lost someone, but we made progress in the right direction, and it's as a result of leadership and supporting the local police.
Very good point, Tom. And you got to keep this in mind. What makes this data so important, and Vinny, I'm going to come to you next, is it's January to October. I love that it ends in October. You know why I love that it ends in October? Because election is November. So the best thing to do is show January to October. It's the perfect timeline to make the comp on to see maybe Biden made America safer. What if data showed that it was safer under Biden? Well, guess it wasn't. Guess what? It wasn't. It wasn't. So no matter what people are going to be talking about, the most base, and by the way, if the Republican Party, if conservatives, if the White House doesn't know how to sell this, they have to sell it. Like if you want to talk to women, talk to mothers, and look at them and say, ma'am, to all the mothers out there who have kids under the age of 18, what happens every time your kid steps out of the house and you're not around them? What do mothers start doing? You panic a little bit. You worry a little bit because you're worried, is your kid going to come back because of the crime and the murders that's taking place? That fear on every single mother in America, that's organically, you were born with it. He decreased it by 20%. Their policies decreased it by 20%. You can sit there and bitch and whine about 50 other policies that maybe you're not happy with. But the one thing that's very important to you, your kid will come home tonight, 20% safer than it was last year, same exact time. They should be celebrating this and screaming it off the top of their lungs. This is a massive, massive victory for the administration. Vinny, your thoughts?
Pat, great point. And going back to, guess who's not complaining, Pat? Guess who's not complaining like the Christians in Nigeria? The mothers. The mothers of the kids that got to walk through these freaking neighborhoods because the Democratic mayors have failed the public. Okay, J.B. Pritzker, Johnson, from all these mayors and all these governors. Where are you at? What are you doing? 20%, Pat? That's not a 5%. That's not a 10. 20% of murder is down. And Tom, you nailed it. I guess the national, I guess because you guys aren't doing your job, we have to deploy United States soldiers to walk around because you guys aren't doing your job. Okay, and guys, let's not forget, he's been in for 1 year. 1 year, and everything's happening. The economy's starting to cook. Gas prices 5-year low. Inflation 4-year low. GDP's getting up. Crime is down. Murder is down. He's bombing terrorists. What else do they want? And Pat, you know who's going to complain today? Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer with his freaking beady little eyes in his glasses, because they have nothing. And I just hope that the American public, guys, the people out there, because I know our audience is broad and there's a lot. Stop. When is enough going to be enough for you? What else does this guy have to do? He's not perfect. There's some stuff that I disagree with. Actually, there's a lot of stuff I disagree with. But the safety, the American people, the mothers, the fathers that are now 20% safer that their kid's not going to get murdered in a Democratic city because your governor and your mayor are trash. And they're not doing nothing. All they're worrying about is their image and their future election. Well, guess what? I'm happy for it, and that's just another W for Trump. Keep them coming.
Tom, I'm going to come to you next. Great point. Tom, where are you at with this?
I kind of just echo the point I just made. And I think that's where I am.
I'm sorry, I was going to go to Adam. I'm sorry, Tom. Adam, where are you at with this?
Look at Tom, typical guy, stealing my thunder, Tom. I'm just kidding, Tom. We're good. Yeah, you guys said it, so I'll just be quick. Trump is the law and order president. Pat, you're absolutely right. A parent, their first thing is safety and security. It was just Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody. I hung out with my nephew yesterday. Usually when I hang out with my nephew, it's 2 hours, it's 3 hours. Last night we did the first sleepover. I said, what's up? You're going to come over. We're going to play basketball. We're going to do a sports day. You're going to sleep over. He's with me here at the office shooting hoops. Hopefully not laying too many bricks. He's in the gym right now. But there was a different wiring in my head yesterday. When we're walking all over Miami, there's a car coming. Hey, Rory, come over here. Hey, what's going on? Just when you become a parent, even if it's for 24 hours, there's something different that goes on in your mind versus, yeah, I'm the cool uncle. I pop in and out. So I felt that fatherly or parental calling, and that is the number one thing. So number one, respect to Trump for making these numbers move. Respect the police. Turns out we do want to fund the police, not defund the police. We want to respect our military. We want to respect ICE. We want to respect what they're doing with the National Guard. At the same time, let's give credit to governors and mayors in big blue cities. It's not just Trump. Sure, I'll give him the lead dog credit. But if murders are down in New York City, 20%, 28% in Chicago, 28% in D.C., 19% in LA, 7% in New Orleans. Good job to the leadership there. I'd rather it go down and give them credit than it go up and place blame.
Great. Let's hash that out. Let's debate that. Okay. How come that didn't happen last year?
Well,
just think about this question. It's a very, very important thing. Normally, in a family, I posted this story the other day on Twitter, and I want to read this story to you. It was a Christmas story, and it's going to come back to what Adam just said. And Adam, I want you to rebuttal to what I'm going to say and give your argument, because I do understand where you're going with this. Here's a story for you folks. Every year, Grandma insisted on hanging the last ornament herself when they were putting up the tree. It was a small, cracked glass bell, nothing fancy. One Christmas, she didn't make it to the tree. The family argued over who would hang it. Old wounds resurfaced. Old resentment came back like ghosts in tinsel. Finally, the youngest grandchild climbed the chair and placed the bell near the top. Inside, it was a folded note no one had ever seen. It read, "When I'm gone," because she's dead at this point, "don't fight over me. Love louder, forgive faster. I'll be right here." That year, the tree felt fuller than it ever had. Every family has certain pain and scars that seem to be impossible to cure, and they just may be, but can still do our best to love. God knows most people are not lacking another iPhone or car or jewelry. Nothing's above love. What's the moral of the story here? What if that grandma didn't write that note? You think that family still is united? Do you think the grandma not writing that note, do you think the bickering would have stopped or gotten worse? What if that grandma didn't put that together? What's the moral of the story? The person up top either makes things safer, more reckless. The grandfather that holds the family together, who is maybe not liked all the time. Maybe he's feared a little bit. Maybe he's respected. They love him, but there's a little bit of fear. Like there's a line you can't cross with this individual, right? They're typically, like at gatherings, everybody that just wants to be chill, they'll kind of go away from that alpha personality, that person that's kind of protecting everybody, and they'll go just say, man, let's just kind of relax. Because that person, when he puts his foot down, everybody stops. Do you really think if Biden, here's a question, Adam, do you really think if Biden was the president this year, that the crime rate would be down 20%, murders would be down 20%? That's the question, Adam.
No, not at all. Biden is one of the weakest guys we've ever seen. In fact, during COVID, people absolutely lost their mind. So if we're going to say, put any of this on Biden, I'm not going to give Biden any credit for any of this. But yeah, listen, arguably, I might be the biggest Trump fan on this podcast at this point. I mean, I love what he's doing, and I get it from the left and the right.
Do you know what point I'm making?
Do you know what starts with leadership?
If there isn't that one person up top that everybody fears, respects, and maybe it doesn't even matter if you like him or love him, but if there's somebody up top that you fear and respect, those communities, like, listen, this is the worst time to be a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
This is the worst time to be a drug dealer selling cocaine in America. This is the worst time trying to bring drugs or cocaine to America from Venezuela. This is the worst time to be smuggling cocaine and drugs on a boat. This is guess what was the best time? The last 4 years was awesome for crime.
Mm-hmm.
The last 4 years was awesome from coyotes. Do you know all those coyotes that were smuggling and bringing kids over the border? Business was awesome for coyotes. How's business this year? Sucks. They're making no money. So that is the power of having somebody that's feared and respected, and he's providing that. And I think it's very important. Do I think the governors also get some credit and the mayors? Yes. Why? Because someone's done this. You know this light that I have here? You know these lights that we all have that we're doing you know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah, of
Someone's
course.
taken this and gone like this on every city. Hey, DC, boom, show the stats.
Yep.
Hey, Baltimore, boom. Oh, shit. Stat. Hey, Chicago, boom. Here's a stat. Someone's putting light on it that they were not doing the last 4 years. And once somebody puts light on it, you better get that number fixed or else, right? We all know what data can do to all of us. Anyways, okay, let's go to the next story. Next story I want to get to is California, Gavin Newsom. And maybe I'm going to come to you with this one here. So California, Gavin Newsom. One of the stories we have on this is, what page is the Gavin Newsom story on? There was a story on Gavin Newsom that we had, California, I wanted to go to. Okay, well, until I find that, we'll find it.
Was that the one about failing grades for Newsom?
Failing grades for Newsom.
Page, I believe that's page 11.
Yeah, page 11, 12, yeah. Failing grades for Newsom from his own state auditor. What do you mean failing grade from Newsom from his own state auditor? So his own state auditor wouldn't give him an F, right? Because he's got to make him look good. Where apparently these are not good things that just came in. So let me read this to you. California's nonpartisan auditor. Keyword is what? Nonpartisan auditor.
Yes.
Just failed 8 state agencies run by Governor Newsom, sending a clear message to residents, your state is broken. The auditor's new report identifies the 8 high-risk agencies that not only exhibit serious waste, fraud, and abuse or mismanagement, but also have failed to take adequate corrective actions. 4 of these 8 agencies attained this dubious distinction during Newsom's term, including the Social Services Department, which was added this year. The report found, for example, that massive payment errors rates in the delivery of food assistance benefits could cost the state $2.5 billion in state funds. It also discovered that fraud and improper payments for unemployment benefits continue to cost the state billions. The report added that inadequate eligibility determinations for Medi-Cal, it put billions more at risk, and it noted that California's 6 straight missed financial reporting deadlines have put the state's credit rating and federal funding in jeopardy. There's more. The auditor noted that states' information technology projects language for months or years as department uses in antiquated systems, despite Silicon Valley being a stone's throw away, and alarmingly, most states' entities continue to fall short of minimum standards for information security. The security of physical infrastructure to its cause for grave concern 49 dams. Ready? 49 dams. Post an extremely high hazard to life and property, with the number of dams rated poor or unsatisfactory increasing by 73% over the last 2 years. Another revealing example involved the California Air Surface Board, which continued paying one of its employees $171,446 salary 15 months after the employee had left the agency. Beyond this latest report, the staggering waste and efficiency of California government is unmatched. The state has spent $18 billion so far of an eventual $128 billion on a high-speed train, yet has laid no tracks for the last 18 years. None. They've spent $18 billion, but not a single track has been laid. And another audit found that the $24 billion on homelessness and lost track of the funds with homelessness soared. Nobody knows where 24. California, guess what? You paid for all of this. Congratulations to you. And nothing happened with it. Vinny, I'm going to come to you first. Your thoughts?
And Pat, that's what a great opening for. I was waiting for you to say, ladies and gentlemen, the 2028 Democratic presidential nominee. That's what you guys want, and that's what you're going to get. He's the favorite on Kalshi and Polymarket. Good for you guys. And guess what? They're going to vote because anything that doesn't have anything to do with Trump or the administration, J.D. Vance, any of them, the Nazi, Hitler, guess what? They're anti-winning, Pat. They're allergic to winning, okay? And then, are you guys noticing a trend? All this scam, by the way, his new name is Gavin New Scam, because look at all these Democratic cities. Look at Minnesota. Look at Minneapolis. What is going on? And everybody's wondering why everybody's broke and the country's struggling. Pat, $70 billion. Can everybody take a time out and let that hit? Because nowadays you hear 5 billion, 10 million. Nobody really thinks about it. 70 billion. And because of him, Pat, notice how he's been quiet, guys, because all these stories are coming out. He's not doing his dances and his podcast. He's kind of shut up for a minute. I was doing a little research, Pat. Did you hear about the Genesis plan? It was a California Medicaid scheme tied to massive federal money abuse under Gavin, started in 2022. So check this out. They raised ambulance reimbursement rates by 300 to 500%. Rates jumped from $339 to high as $1,600 per one ride in an ambulance, okay? So the local hospitals and counties were required to send the inflated amounts to the state through intergovernmental transfers. The state then requested federal matching funds, usually around 50%. So then after receiving the federal money, California paid private ambulance companies the original lower cost. This is all under Gavin New Scam. And then, Pat, the state kept the difference between the inflated rate and the real cost. I mean, it's brilliant if you think about it. So investigators say taxpayer money from across the country was funneled to prop up California's budget. That's why he's always bragging. He's always bragging about the numbers. And it's one of the most convoluted and dishonest taxpayer frauds uncovered in modern medical finance reviews, Pat. Billions siphoned, and this is the resume of the future of the Democratic Party. And I'm gonna finish with this. For all these past 10 years, okay, why we always wonder now, how does a Mamdani, guys, how does a Mamdani get elected? How is AOC beating JD Vance in some of these polls? And how this is what you guys have to offer, because for 10 years, all you've done is focus on Batman, Hitler, Orange Guy. They have no policies. They steal all this freaking money, and they have no plans. No nothing. It's just sucking the money dry, making themselves rich and looking good, and to pay for the gel in Gavin Newsom's hair, Pat. And I'm happy that they're all getting exposed.
Tom, where you at with this? By the way, great commentary. Where you at, Tom?
We talked about this 2 weeks ago when the Minnesota fraud was only, 6? Now it's 9.2, what I saw this morning.
Yep.
So it's about to be double-digit billions in Minnesota. And there were analysts out there, neutral analysts were saying, look at the population of Minnesota, look at what they were doing. California is doing some of the same things. You know what that means? If there's similar fraud in California, buckle up, because the number is going to be stratospheric. And remember, Democrats were even commenting on the $2 billion in Minnesota. Well, we have to do something here. There's $2 billion in fraud. Yes, that has to do it. So people were out there trying to position themselves for success. And analysts were saying, look, it's going to be far bigger than that. When you get to California, it's going to be even worse. This is a state that has just skimmed off itself, which you just heard Vinny talk about. Oh, this price you pay, this price we pay. Hey, we're the state. We'll keep something in the middle. Good grief, it's socialism has come all the way down to, the medical services that they're trying to provide to the people. That's just to me, it's incredible. It's nothing like what's in Minnesota. It's 6 times worse. And that's just what they're talking about, 68 billion. And then 128 on the train, and 18 is gone. Where did the 18 go? It went to studies. It went to political hacks. It went to elections talking about the train. It went to an architecture firm. No, wait a minute. The architecture firm apparently did some actual work and talking about the planning, where it had to go and where it'll be next to farmland and going by bridges. That's actual work to build a plan. So as long as on the government dole, it wasn't like $3 billion for the plan, but at least there was something there. This is catastrophic, and Gavin Newsom is just moving it on out. But let me tell you something. You know who paid for this? The American taxpayer, because the states get relief from the federal government when they run into issues, and they hide behind disaster areas. So all the fires and the federal money that came in on the fires, there was no money in the first place for the fires because they were bankrupt and the reservoirs were dry. This is the 6th largest economy in the world that is being run like, and I'm going to get in trouble here, like freaking Haiti under Baby Doc.
So Adam, where you at with this?
Well, California needs a Doge or something to figure out where the hell all this money is going. It's so incredible. PBD, I remember when you did a breakdown between Disneyland in California versus Disney World in Florida at the height of COVID, and it was just so shocking to see the glaring differences between a well-run state and a state that's just missing billions spent on whatever that doesn't do anything. Florida, low taxes, limited regulation, budget surplus, net positive migration, safer community. California, the exact opposite. High taxes, 13% if you're in the top tax bracket, heavy regulation. We heard how long it takes to just even build a bathroom outside of a mall or anything like that. The deficit is plummeting, dangerous, homelessness, crime, net migration, negative. But this is what California is. So, guys, the waters are fine here in Florida. Come on down. I know a lot of people are ready to leave California. They're going to Texas. They're going to Nevada. Some people are going to Florida. But at what point are we going to say Gavin Newsom is just not a good leader? But he's going to be the most likely candidate for the Democratic Party in 2028. We'll see.
Pat, can I ask you a question, though? How is it that he spent $24 billion to try to help homelessness? Nothing worked. Billions of dollars for this railway, they didn't lay one brick. How is that not criminal? And how is the people not saying, hey, wait a minute, We're spending all this money. You're taxing the hell out of us. Hollywood is finished. Everybody's moving out. And you keep wanting us to vote and keep this blind loyalty to a party that is literally raping you guys for everything that you have. Pat, how is that not Najat? We know people that have stolen 100 grand, 50 grand, and the law's coming after you. This is crazy. This is insanity. We're talking about 50, 70 billion dollars. How's he not in jail?
It's so true. I mean, we know people that steal $100,000 and they're going to end up having a misdemeanor and felony on their records for the rest of their lives. When they go applying for jobs, they're always going to have to say, do you have a felony or misdemeanor? And that company does a background check. It's going to say yes. But imagine at this level of a governor doing that. So as much as these numbers are going to do whatever they're going to do, whoever's going against Newsom, the Republicans are kind of, their messaging right now is not perfectly fine yet. Like, there are some issues. There are some within the party. There are some real big wars going on, a lot of real wars, which we'll talk about here in a minute. I want to get to the economy first. The Bari, Weiss, and Megyn Kelly and all the stuff that's going on, these are real issues that are taking place. But let me talk about the economy. So everybody was talking about the economy and affordability, which, by the way, valid. We need to be considering what affordability means, in my opinion, to the 18 to 29 years old. We got to get that part right, 18 to 29 years old, because they're coming out of college and they have to go get a job, have a family, have kids. If they don't, they're not going to want to have kids. Our birth rate is going to drop. But let me read this to you, and Tom, I'm coming to you first with this story. Trump boom. U.S. economy grows 4.3%, fastest in 2 years, smashing expectations. The Commerce Department said U.S. domestic product, the GDP, the government's official economic scoreboard, rose at a seasonally and inflation-adjusted 4.3% annual rate in the third quarter. The report on the July through September period was delayed due to the shutdown. Today's blockbuster expectation-smashing GDP record report is the latest proof that President Trump's America First trade and economic agenda continues to turn the page on the Biden economic disaster. American consumers are spending and American exports are surging. White House spokesman Kush Desai said President Trump built the greatest economy in the world in his first term, and he's in the process of doing the same thing all over again. Americans can count on benefiting from a historic economic boom in 2026. Gross domestic product is a broad measure of the goods and services produced across the economy. Economists had expected the economy to grow at 3.2% after the second quarter's 3.8% growth prior to the inflation adjustment and economic growth at an 8.2% rate. Real final sales to private domestic purchasers, a slice of GDP that some economists view as a clear measure of the health of the private sector, grew at 3% annual rate, up from 3% in the second quarter. This suggests that demands from consumers and businesses remained strong and gathered a bit steam over the summer. Tom, thoughts on this?
Well, I'll tell you, there's some good news here. You know what the good news here? Hidden in what you just said. Not really hidden, but it's among the list that you just read. Exports are up. Whoa, exports are up. Who's selling to who? American companies are selling to others, to citizens of other countries, and are selling to companies in other countries. So when exports are up, that means there's more people for the U.S. economy to sell to. And when you look at that, guess what that means? That means the tariffs weren't inflationary. The tariffs were, guess what? A crack in the door. At the beginning of the year, I made a prediction, and I said that tariffs will be more tactics than they will be taxes. And that came true. The inflation did not go up, and the economists are, hey, you know what? The economy actually went up. The inflation didn't jump up on the tariffs. That's right, because they were tactics to open markets wider to the American business. And that's exactly what leadership did. And I'm not sitting here saying everything is perfect, but I'm saying that the GDP growing faster, and then you read in there that exports are up. You go, wait a minute. Tariffs are working. The other guy turned his tariffs down, opened the doors for U.S. business. That is good. The other thing is that the American consumer is spending. And there was also a correlated analysis here, Pat, was economists right now are saying that the chance of a recession next year is dropping. And if you look at things like prediction markets, I think there was something on Kalshi recently that said they thought there's only like a 23 Torford, not they, but the collection of people that are putting their opinions out on Kalshi consolidated was 23% chance of a recession next year. Oh, wait a minute. Inflation's going to be terrible. The sky's going to be falling. We're going to have recession next year. That was the Democrat narrative. And I think the White House, just like on crime, needs to make the point here. You have a job because your company shipped things to consumers overseas. Your job and your raise was tied to that, and Americans are buying more. This is a good sign of progress, but we got to keep the hammer down on it.
Good feedback. Adam, your thoughts?
Yeah, exactly. Tom nailed it on the head here. The chances of a recession, I believe, just came out in Calci. I sent that to you, Humberto. Next year in 2026, I've now reached an all-time low of 25%. So congratulations to Howard Lutnick, to Trump, to everyone that's basically working on the economy, from the even Fed chair down. And we know how Trump feels about Jerome Powell. But this is, I don't know if this is considered dynamic growth, but this is strong. This is a strong indicator of where we're headed for 2026. I know, PBD, you've said 2026, get ready for the greatest year of our lives. We're all expecting it. What I would love to see this trickle down to, from this macro sense, is to personal GDP, to real wages growing, to your savings rate going, to your debt going down, to go from a debt to a saver to an investor. It's no secret you can't save your way to becoming a millionaire. But if you just take a little slice of the American dream and you believe in capitalism and you start your 401k, you get out of debt, you start your Roth IRA, you actually participate in the American dream, invest in the American economy, good things are going to happen to you. Save that money, invest that money, be a part of the American dream.
Love it. I'm going to go to a story by Logan Paul about saving that money. Logan Paul comes out, YouTuber, and Adam, I'm going to come to you with this one here. YouTuber Logan Paul causes stir. What's the big deal here? But watch this. As he gives financial advice to Gen Zs live on air. So let's see what this financial advice is on what he says that's causing so many people to be upset with this guy. His opinions on to Gen Z on live television and urging them to take bigger risks. The YouTuber star, 30 years old, pushed the younger generation to spend their energy in meaningful ways, even if they appear to go against the grain. I think if you have the money, don't be afraid to take a risk, especially if you're young. Paul said on Tuesday on Fox Business Network's with Big Money Show. Paul is currently worth $150 million. He's best known for his content on YouTube, TikTok, but also known for Prime Energy drink brand, and has appeared as a WWE marquee wrestler. If you're young, there are ways to spend and invest your money in ways that might mean more to you than a traditional conservative investment, like the stock market. That could mean trading cards, artwork, sports memorabilia, like game-worn jersey attire, or even a piece of a dinosaur. His investment tips causes division on social media as users debated whether Paul's advice was prudent or irresponsible. By the way, do we have a video on this, on what he was saying, Humberto, or no? Is there a video there? If you do have it, let me know. Risk is fine, but Gen Z needs transparency and fundamentals. One ex-user wrote, not celebrity investing advice. Another weighed in, true, take the risk. Paul told Gen Z they should remain wary of their investment, even as they looked to beat the stock market. You got to be careful with what you're investing in, he said, or trade out of it. The celebrity entrepreneur's remarks came as he admitted to having a world record $5.3 million for a single Pokemon card. If you can't buy a home, you sure as hell can't be investing in Pokemon cards. Another ex-user said, get a Roth IRA before you go out and get Pokemon. This is ridiculous. Is this the clip, by the way?
Yeah.
Humberto, is this the clip? Go on and play the clip. Let's watch a few seconds of it. Go ahead, Rob. Go ahead, Humberto.
Is way to make money that's an alternative. Maybe it's not buying a home anymore. Maybe it's not the traditional stock market. What do you tell that group of young investors out there?
I think if you have the money, don't be afraid to take a risk, especially if you're young. Young people have a ton of energy. I had a lot of energy when I was younger. I'm 30 now and I'm Unc and I have a daughter. I'm a dad. And so I have way less energy. But if you're young, there are ways to spend and invest your money in ways that might mean more to you than a traditional conservative investment like the stock market. Whether it's a trading card, a piece of art, a piece of a dinosaur, like a sports memorabilia, game worn.
But so, Adam, where are you at with what Logan Paul is saying here?
Well, listen, don't take advice from anybody that hasn't done it. And Logan Paul has done it. You know, you can criticize the guy all you want, his this, his that. The guy's worth over $100 million by the age of 30. Unheard of. So the guy talked about risk. Now listen, the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. So everyone who's young should understand what risk tolerance is, asset allocation, what you're investing in, and your time horizon. These are basic fundamentals of finance. I got to give the Paul brothers credit for betting on themselves when they were teenagers and saying, listen, let's risk it for the biscuit. And if we can turn out to be these massive influencers or boxers or celebrity boxers or WWE champions, whatever it ends up being, let's go for it. And worst case scenario, you're 25 and you just start a real career, or you're 30 and you're starting over, especially for young men. Young men see what's going on in society. They see the Jake Pauls of the world, the Logan Pauls of the world, all these celebrities that are making all this money. There's a few and far between. But if you bet on yourself, take the risk, you'll be 25, 30, and you still have tons of time. So would I say that the number one thing you should do is go out and get a Pokemon card? No. Go out and get a Roth IRA. Go out and get a 401k. Save that cash, stack that money, save that money. But once you do that and you have a foundation, sure, take a little bit of risk. And by the way, last point, it's not just risking money. You also go risking time. There's something called ROI, return on your investment, but there's something called ROT, return on your time. So you can do both. If you don't have money, dedicate your time. So you can do it either way, but at the end of the day, save that money.
Tom, I have a lot of thoughts on this here, but I'm going to come to you first, Tom.
I happen to think that look, Logan Paul is talking about two things. One is classic investment theory. You can make mistakes when you're younger that you can't afford to make when you're older. You've got time. So that is a time-tested true. If you would look at modern portfolio theory and people just look that up, it'll tell you, hey, take your age, take 100 minus your age is the percent you could have in stocks. There's a lot of techniques. So there's a core thing he's right about. I'm not going to weigh in on collectibles or this or that, because one person's expertise isn't necessarily the whole world's expertise. A lot of people jumped in on Bitcoin that didn't know what they were doing, and they try to trade in and out rather than hold and wait for gains, and they get scared by the news, and then they're sideways. And so, in terms of asset classes, I'm not really there with Logan Paul, but what I am with is the philosophy of you can make mistakes when you're young, but we shouldn't teach our people to be impulsive or foolish with their decisions and their money.
Tom, great feedback, and I love the fact that there's opposite ideas here. Here's what I would tell you: the best way to find out what the risk tolerance of your kids are between ages of 10 to 17 years old is play Monopoly with them. You will learn after 3 hours which one of your kids likes cash and is afraid to take risks, which one of them takes risks. And by the way, don't teach them anything. Just test them out. You'll see. You'll say, oh, wow, this kid is super risky. I'll buy this. I'll buy that property from you. I'll buy this property. I'll buy this. Let's trade this. I'm like, what? No one's buy. Boom. All of a sudden, they land on someone's hotel bankruptcy. They're out of business. Or they go to a hotel. They get that $500. That's now $800. They build hotels. And next thing you know, they dominate and destroy everybody. Everyone has a certain risk tolerance and temperament. My dad is unbelievably conservative. Unbelievably conservative when it comes down to his investments. Everything is cash. I don't think the man has ever owned a house. My dad has never owned a house ever. He's 83 years old.
Wow.
He's never owned a stock. He's never owned a life insurance policy. He's never owned a Roth IRA. He's never owned anything like that. He's never owned. And by the way, he's had his driver's license here since 1984. One time a cop pulled him over. He got so upset at the cop for pulling him over. He says, "You cannot pull me over." He says, "What do you mean, sir? I'm pulling you over." He says, "I've never broken the law." My dad doesn't have a single speeding ticket or a ticket period red light since 1984 when he got his driver's license. Now his son on the other side, he's got 25 speeding tickets. My license was suspended twice in my early 20s. I don't know how many red light tickets I got. It's very different. So now my sons, when we drive, one of my sons is like, "Dad, step on it, step on it." And my other son's like, "Dad, speed limit, you're going above 35. So no, a part of that is you. A part of it isn't. You can force it. You can increase a little bit of your risk tolerance or not. Here's where I'm at. I went so aggressive in my early 20s that I found myself being $49,000 in credit card debt at 24 years old, 25 years old. with Galpin Ford trying to come and find my Ford Expedition because I would park it a mile away because I had made a car payment for 3 months because I lost everything. And I would make phone payments on Nextel, $43 payments because that's all I had. And I would negotiate with Nextel to turn on my phone for 4 days so I can sell stuff. Because I was a financial guy, I was an insurance guy. I needed my cell phone. And that's how I made it. I risked, and then eventually it turned out to be a big return. I've made the big art purchases or collectible cards and all that stuff that worked in my favor. I would say, like yesterday, my son and I were talking, and I said, Dad, when did you start liking stocks? I said, I'll never forget what happened to me. One time I put $2,000 or some number like that, small number, into a Nike stock at $27. He says, what happened? I said, it went to $41. No way. Yes, and how long? Less than a year. I said, I looked at my E-Trade portfolio. This is back in the days. And I'm like, oh my God, the 2,000 turned into $3,200. I didn't work for this $1,200. This is sick. This is crazy. And so then I said, this is some good stuff here. Then one time, I'm 24, 25 years old. I'm at church. One of my guys that I recruited that used to sell Forex, he was a Series 3 licensed guy who would sell futures and, commodities. He goes on an appointment with another lady who is today the chief scientist, I think, at IBM, brilliant lady named Solmaz. They go on an appointment. She sells a $6,000 target premium insurance policy. And my broker calls me and says, what did you do the last 2 hours? I said, I'm at church. She says, well, you just made $1,200. I said, no, you don't make money when you go to church. You lose money because you have to tithe. He said, no. You just made $1,200. I said, how? Remember when you introduced this person and this person, they both got licensed? Yes. Well, they just sold this policy. And you, as the one that has a spread, you made this much money. I said, no way. So I learned about investing, and I learned about building a business of leveraging other people's efforts as well to work collectively together. So listen, what Logan Paul is saying, Jake Paul got interviewed the other day. They asked him, they said, who's richer? Jake said, I'm probably richer today. He says, but the day Prime sells, Logan's going to be a lot richer than me. So today, Jake is making money today. The other day he had the fight. Apparently he made $92 million on that fight. And by the way, let me transition to the story that Rogan giving advice to Jake Paul. Humberto, if you have the Rogan clip giving advice to Jake Paul, I want to share this clip. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, guys, just like, a couple minute thing to move on, but I think it was very good advice, like an uncle, fatherly advice Rogan's giving to Jake, which I'm sure Jake has already seen. And not sure if we'll take it or not, but Humberto, if you got the clip, pull it up. We'll just let Joe explain what he was saying about Jake Paul. I know you have the clip somewhere there. Go ahead, Rob. Go ahead, Humberto.
He's got nothing but respect from me. Anthony Joshua's gigantic.
So big.
He's so big. He's so much bigger. Bro, he got hit with a bomb and breaks his jaw in 2 places. And he's fucked. His jaw's wired shut now. He lost teeth.
Yeah.
I think he went into that fight knowing that was probably going to happen.
Yeah.
And ultimately, the big win for him would be that he was even willing to do it. The thing is that I would hope that he recognizes is right now he's doing great and he's only whatever he is, 28. Don't do this very long, because there's a price that you pay that is not worth it. Yeah. It's not worth it. And that price is depression, deep depression, a severe brain imbalance that's going to lead you to addiction. It leads so many people to impulsive behavior. So many people become gambling addicts, drug addicts, alcoholics after their fighting career. You could only take so much. And at a certain, like that one that he got from Joshua, say if you have like a punch card, you have like so many punches that you can get in your life, which I believe you do. That one was like 10 punches. That was like, there was a lot of concussions in that one punch.
Sure.
That was real damage. Like if someone's breaking your jaw in 2 places, the inside of your fucking head.
Humberto, you can pause it right there.
There's a lot of damage going on.
By the way, this is coming from a person, this is coming from a person who is the probably biggest expert in this space, minus 50 other names that are actual guys that fought in the ring in UFC. And I'm talking about John Jones and Khabib and a couple of these other guys. But this is Joe's life. And Joe's been a part of this. And he was a fighter himself back in the days. Okay? This guy was a fighter back in the days. Him giving advice like this to...
Now?
Vinny, can you... Yeah. Bishmayet, we can hear you, Vinny. So him giving advice like this to Jake, and by the way, keep in mind, Joe was a fighter. He stopped fighting because I think there was an accident or something happened to him where he experienced some kind of a pain that happened. It was like, you know what? I don't know if my body can take this for too long. And then what happened to Joe? #1 podcaster in the world. In God knows how many countries is #1. It's not like it's just America, all over the world. Joe's going to be a billionaire. I guesstimate Joe will be a billionaire probably within the next 18 to 36 months. Joe will be a billionaire, just same way I said 3 years ago, 4 years ago, that Elon Musk will be a trillionaire in the next 3 years. And at the time he was worth 50 billion. Everybody was saying, you're out of your mind, you're crazy. And now he is a trillionaire. He's going to be a trillionaire in 2026. I think Joe will be a billionaire in the next 18 to 36 months. And I think Jake Paul is a very, very talented, capable guy. He knows how to shine on camera. He knows how to entertain. He is competitive. He is funny. I think there's many different ways of making money. I just don't think Jake's going to listen probably for another 3 to 5 years. I think Jake's going to continue going for another 3 to 5 years. My guesstimation, I could be wrong. I'm not in the guy's head. I just support the guy. And I wish the guy nothing but the best. But I thought this was very good feedback from Joe to Jake Paul. Does anybody here have any thoughts on this? Tom or Adam, do you guys have any
I have
thoughts?
some thoughts on this.
Go for it.
So Jake Paul shouldn't listen to Rogan until it's too late. So do your thing, make your money now, but all it takes is one punch to completely ruin your life. Jake Paul has the luxury of maybe considering, maybe not. But the rest of the people that should be heeding this advice are two people. There's so many other fighters out there that are fighting for 10 grand a fight. And we've seen what happens to a lot of these people. And a lot of them, you know, whether it's UFC, whether it's boxing, whether it's people in the UNFL, with the NFL, with the whole concussion protocol and what's the whole thing that AB allegedly had and a lot of players have had, these brain injuries, CTE.
CTE.
So, you know, when you're young, you think that you can live forever and you think that you're invincible until something happens. We also happened to Muhammad Ali. So there's a deeper story here, is that life's a marathon, not a sprint. So whether it's fighting, whether it's your lifestyle, whether it's money, you're going to be 30, you're going to be 40, you're going to be 50, and PBD, you snap your fingers, boom, just like that, you're going to be 60. Is your money going to be there for you at that age? And not only is your money going to be there, is your brain, is your capacity, is your will, and is everything functioning at that point? Or did you blow it all by the time you were 30? There's a bigger message here that Rogan's trying to convey for young people and for Jake Paul.
Can you guys hear me, Pat?
Yes, Vinny, go for it.
So I couldn't hear the clip because of the stream, but from what I'm understanding, did Joe tell him like to be careful with the
don't get knocked out too much. Exactly.
So and then we talked about this the day after the fight. Is that 96 million or whatever worth you having brain damage for the rest of your life? And this is the thing, that this is, to me, besides the Tyson Fury's brother, you're going up against a real fighter. This guy, if that boxer punches you in the face in the street, that's assault with a deadly weapon. He's a trained, that's a killer. This is a weapon. So is it worth the money? I don't think any money is worth, Pat. The brain, like we talked about this when I first came to VT. Somebody asked me, would you take the COVID vaccine for $100 million? And I said, give me $1 billion. I'm not putting that poison in my body. So that's it.
Yeah, you know, it's a good point that's being made. By the way, the best way why this advice is sound for Jake is for the following reason. How many fighters do you know that you put them in front of camera, they're just boring? Yes. How many fighters do you know that they don't know how to promote? Like, for example, do you think Conor can do things outside of, UFC? Of course. Do you think Conor can do things outside of UFC and win? Yeah, he can act. He can do a show. He can promote. Do you think Khabib has the same amount of talent outside of UFC?
Absolutely not.
It's not. No. I've had him on. We had him at our event. We had a very good time. One of my funniest conversations backstage with him for 30 minutes. The guy is funny on a one-on-one basis and really enjoyed him. But Jake actually is multifaceted talent that he can choose to stop if he wants to. I just don't think he is, because he's a bit of a rebel and he's going to do whatever he wants to do. But I'd like to see Jake go around at 80 years old. I think Jake's got a big upside, and I'd like to see what he's going to be doing. I'm going to get to the next story here. Next story I want to get to is Minnesota. Okay, let's go to Minnesota. You know, what's going on? So the Minnesota, what happened?
Tom.
Vinny, I can hear you, Vinny.
I just lost Pat.
Can you hear me or no? Okay, let me just go with this. So I'm going to go to Yeah, I'm not gonna go to the Minnesota story right now because I'm gonna have to show the clip. Trump lashes out on Stephen Colbert, urges CBS to put him to sleep. Okay, now that's pretty strong words. Put him to sleep. Humberto, do you have a clip on that story with Trump and Stephen Colbert from CBS? If you have that, do me a favor and you find that. I'm going to read the story because I think there is a clip on that. So President Trump went off on late night's host Stephen Colbert Tuesday night, calling him a dead man walking and urging CBS to put him to sleep. In a midnight Truth Social post by the president, he dragged the Late Show host as a pathetic train wreck who is running on hatred and fumes. Stephen Colbert is a pathetic train wreck with no talent or anything else necessary for show business success. Now, after being terminated by CBS, but left out to dry, he has actually gotten worse. Along with his non-existent rating, Trump wrote, Stephen is running on hatred and fumes. A dead man walking. CBS should put him to sleep. Now is the humanitarian thing. That is a humanitarian thing to do. Shortly after the message to Colbert and CBS, Trump followed up with a broader warning to late night show hosts that are almost 100% negative to Trump, MAGA, and the Republican Party. If network newscasts and their late night shows are almost 100% negative to President Donald J. Trump, MAGA, and the Republican Party, shouldn't their very valuable broadcast licenses be terminated? I say yes. He said this on Truth Social. All right, Tom, I'm coming to you first. Your thoughts on this?
So I think it's one thing to point out like a media criticism. It's quite another thing to go kind of get a little close to the edge. And I think at times this criticism gets close to the edge. Here's why it worries me. The anti-Trump movement that is in the government, if something happens at midterms or they gain a little bit of power, they're going to come back the other way. Now we don't have freedom of speech. We have implied censorship or individual selective censorship by whoever's in power. Whoever's in power says, you know, that Colbert guy, they should put that guy to sleep. Oh, here it comes. Well, now somebody else comes in, they're going to say, you know what? I don't like PBD in that team. You know, they start in the middle, but they're kind of conservative. You know what? I don't like what they're saying about California, and I'm Gavin Newsom, and whoops, I'm president. Guess what? I think it's going to come back the other way. It's one thing for Trump to say, hey, you know what? I am not a fan of Stephen Colbert. I am not a fan of the things he says. And by the way, he was so wrong on vaccination. How did that little dancing syringes age? Gosh, I'm just not a fan. It's one thing for a leader to say that and have an honest opinion. It's another thing for take that guy off the air and then the other way, going back and looking at other things and saying, hey, let's do this or do that. I just think they got to be really careful here because the pendulum swings both ways. And now what do? Is you just wait for whoever's in power and then the American people lose the ability. Remember, freedom of speech means that the citizen gets to listen to both sides and vote.
Yeah, I like what you're saying there, Tom. And the reality of it is, you know, my opinion on what Trump's going to have to do in 2028, in the month of October, Trump's going to have to, the reason why Trump is speaking so aggressively right now is because he's going to self-pardon himself in October of 2028. I think he's going to self-pardon himself. I think he's going to pardon everybody in his administration. I think this is going to be a new playbook that every president does moving forward because it gives them a blanket immunity against being able to say stuff like this. You can't say stuff like this. You can't say put him to sleep. You can't say, take him off the air. You can't say stuff like this because what you're doing is, you're opening it up in 4 years. You can only speak like this if you know you're going to be there for 40 years and you're not. You're only there for 3 years. So guess who this is going to hurt in 3 years? In 3 years, when somebody else gets elected, let's just say Newsom is in or somebody else, AOC is in, or one of those guys comes in and they win. You don't think they're going to come after everybody? I don't want to, just repeat the same thing you're saying. All I'm saying is think long term. Call them out with data. Like when I was talking earlier with the light, show the fact that 98% of their guests are liberal. Highlight it. And everybody's like, oh my God, I never knew about that. Highlight the fact that Stephen Colbert is so one-sided and never has Republican guests. And if they do, it's Liz Cheney who hates Trump. Talk about that kind of stuff. But I don't know if I like the strategy on what he's doing. and what he's saying. But Vinny, I'll come to you next. Your thoughts on what he said about Stephen Colbert in a minute. I'm going to show you guys what Jimmy Kimmel said in the video. And so, Vinny, I may even show it now, and you can react to both.
Yeah, Pep, show Kimmel first.
Humberto, if you have that clip of what Jimmy Kimmel said, the video clip on Twitter or X, if you can play that clip, because this is Jimmy Kimmel on Christmas talking to the world. He's talking, I think, a little bit about UK and saying, hey, here's what America's going through. We're acting a little bit weird. Just be patient with us.
And
watch this. Watch this. Go for it.
I honestly have no idea what's going on over there. I do know what's going on over here, though. And I can tell you that from a fascism perspective, this has been a really great year. Tyranny is booming over here. You may have read in your colorful newspapers, my country's president would like to shut me up because I don't adore him in the way he likes to be adored. The American government made a threat against me and the company I work for, and all of a sudden we're off the air. And because so many people spoke out, we came back. Our show came back stronger than ever. We won, the president lost, and now I'm back on the air every night. We are not bright. We're Americans. No one knows better than you. We're always just a little bit late to the game. But do we come through in the end? Maybe. Give us about 3 years, please. Thank you for your patience, and thank you for Spider-Man. Merry Christmas and happy holidays.
Okay, so that video, the message that he's given, and Vinny, I know you've seen this clip, Vinny, yourself. I want to come to you with this one here, Humberto, if you can go to Vinny. Vinny, when you're seeing this, him give that message, and then the president going after Stephen Colbert, what progress do you see is happening here? You think this is the right move?
Well, first of all, Pat, like Jimmy Kimmel, how much of a whining, crying, you made tens of millions of dollars, okay? Your ratings suck, okay? You got taken off the air, not because Donald Trump said, hey, I don't want people saying mean things about me. Everybody's been saying mean things about him forever. That's why their numbers suck, Pat. They've been hemorrhaging money forever, but we know why they keep them on the air, because the donors, they don't care that they're losing money. They just want Batman, Orange Man, Hitler Man done. So for him to go to the UK, go live and trash us and trash our country, you're in a country, Jimmy, where if you post negative things on people on social media, the cops come to your house and arrest you. In the UK, okay? In Germany, a girl got raped by 11 guys, and somebody went on social media after the raper and said, hey, you're a jerk and I hope God does whatever to you. That girl did more prison time than the guy that was raping the 11-year-old girl. So enough with Jimmy Kimmel. I cannot wait for the end of 2026 when we don't have to hear this guy anymore. It's just constant whining and crying. What a beta female type move to go to another country to bash our country. On the flip side, what he said with Colbert, that type of dialogue, Pat, that type of put him to sleep and putting in quotations, I get it. You know, Krasenstein and all these freaking little worms, they use anything to try to incite violence and stuff towards the Trump and our side. I don't think it's a good move. But again, Pat, this is President Trump. Nobody's going to tell him what to do. I'm pretty sure whoever's the person typing the stuff for him to post, they're not even saying anything. They're just like, whatever the president says, write it. I wish you had somebody to be like, I wouldn't put the quotations and put him to sleep, because everybody knows what that means. Everybody knows what 8647 means with James Comey in the sand, trying to pretend like you don't think that we know what you're saying. I just think a little bit more like he could step back, but, you know, he is who he is.
Adam, thoughts?
So let's just be clear. In America, we believe in free speech. I happen to be a free speech absolutist. Say what you want to say. As long as it is not inciting violence, say what you got to say. Look at the clowns in the comment section right now. They could say what they want to say. All good. We're grown-ups. We got thick skin. At the same time, America is the last great hope of the world. We see what's going on in the rest of the world. And you have the weak West. You see what's going on in Canada. You see what's going on in limiting free speech in the UK. We see what's going on in Australia. And at the same time, you have these strong men in Putin and Xi and Kim Jong-un and the Ayatollah. You can't say shit. You'll end up missing. Even Giorgia Meloni in Italy, remember that conversation she was having with Trump? She's like, You deal with all these reporters on a daily basis? He's like, yeah. She's like, not in my country, buddy. So Trump deals with this nonstop for 10 years. Someone who was a darling of the media, darling of Hollywood, darling of the legacy TV, darling of hip hop. Now he's the most hated man in America, certainly the world, according to Americans. But I totally understand why Trump would say things like, they're the enemy of the people. I totally understand why he says things like, they're running on hatred and fumes, because they are. Dude, I rarely, if ever, watch late night. Sometimes I'll watch The Daily Show, and sometimes I'll watch a little mixture of Colbert, of Kimmel, of Fallon, just to see who's on. Sometimes I'll even watch the number one show in late night, Greg Gutfeld, who I've said time and time again, number one show, least talented, least creative, number one show. There's a reason for it, because I believe in free markets. People vote with their feet and with their eyes. But I happened to come across Colbert, and I sent Humberto some pictures. Who do you think just showed up on Colbert? Not random, just a random day that I picked up his basically twin, Rachel Maddow, shows up, and I'm like, which one's which? Do you have that picture, Humberto? So, of course, imagine Megyn Kelly showing up on Colbert. Imagine Brett Baer. Imagine PBD. They won't have these people on. PBD, I believe you mentioned 98% of guests are liberals. Humberto, you got that picture yet? No, can't pull it up. But the point is, they look exactly alike. And it's, is anybody shocked to see Rachel Maddow basically making cocktails with Colbert? I totally understand Trump's frustration, but at the same time, free speech, free speech, free speech.
They're not going to win long term. And here's what I mean, they're not going to win long term. You know, think about it. Remember when the whole October 7th thing happened, and right off the bat, it was such a sensitive topic, and it was nasty. It divided the Republican Party. It was just a confusing thing. Democrats were becoming Republicans. Bill Ackman, you know, he was giving all this money to Harvard. He's leaving because the way Harvard president, Columbia, wait a minute, you don't take care of Jews. And then next thing you know, the other argument was you can't make any comments about Jews or else, and it's anti-Semitic. And then, wait a minute, if we want to criticize, we should be able to do that as well. And then that led to, I'm just no war. I just don't want any war. No, I'm an America first. I'm an American only. And everybody was filtering out these ideas. Everybody was filtering out the ideas, and we're just listening and kind of giving our own opinions. And then you realize, after about some time, there's some logic and good points on both sides of the aisle. You know, if we, for ourselves in America, this Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert model is going to go away. These guys are getting destroyed by podcasters and YouTubers. That model's gone. Why do you think the Oscars, not the Oscars, is it the Oscars announced they're doing it on YouTube? You know why they're going on YouTube? No one's freaking watching it. Mm-hmm. No one's watching it anymore. No one gives a shit for you to get up and give me climate change bullshit type of stuff. No one cares, no one cares on all the fear porn you want to push down everybody's throat. And then, by the way, this year they finally had a podcaster award that they're giving away. I think Grammys had it, or one of the ones had it, not Grammys. One of the ones had the podcaster award. Guess who was not on that list? Joe Rogan wasn't on that list, not as a nominee. You're going to give away a podcast award and not have Joe in the conversation? You've lost your. So this is so much credibility that they're losing, and eventually the right ideas will win. Just for a period of time, they're going to be criticized, and some people will be confused. Well, maybe this, well, maybe that. Take your time. The right argument will eventually be filtered out. Doesn't mean the other side's not going to be around. Doesn't mean bots are not being paid behind closed doors. Doesn't mean other countries like Qatar, Israel, AIPAC, they're not going to spend their money to get you to think the way they think. Doesn't mean China is not spending $70, $100, $200 million in universities to get kids that are going to school to be teaching a certain course that these universities are teaching, to teach a history that shows China as a better country, not as all these people that they killed. It doesn't mean all of these countries, including ourselves, are not going to impose our philosophy on everybody else. You don't think we're pitching capitalism to everybody? You don't think everybody's doing it? But guess what? The right argument is based on who's producing the best results. Guess what countries produce the best results around the world? America has. Period. You can say whatever you want about UK. How long has UK been around? How long was UK the financial capital of the world? What happened to UK? What happened to you right now? I was watching a video about how UK was in the 50s, 60s, and what the families look like to what it looks like today. They lost their entire identity. What happened to a lot of these countries? How did America, that's 249 years old, about to be 260, 250 in a week, July 4th, they're going to be 250 years old. How did that country whoop on Iran, the Persian Empire? How did that country whoop on China? How did that country whoop on Russia? How did that country whoop on UK? How? Better ideas eventually win. It takes a minute, but they eventually win. Vinny, are you ready for the Minnesota story? Because I'm going to go.
Let's go. Let's go.
Minnesota story. So the fraud in Minnesota is not slowing down. One of the individuals in Minnesota, Dem tearfully apologizes to Somalians after they were busted for stealing billions. Let me read this to you again. A Democratic in Minnesota tearfully apologizes to Somalians after they were busted stealing billions. Vinny, I'm just going to hand this over to you. You take it from here on what you have with everything that's going on in Minnesota and Somalians and the fraud.
Okay, so just right off the bat, Pat, about half or more of roughly $18 billion. I'm going to say that one more time for anybody that's doing something in the house and you just went, did he say $18 billion? Yes, $18 billion in claims paid out by Medicaid to Minnesota-run programs have been fraudulent. More than half. And at least 14 of those were likely exploited, a federal prosecutor said on Thursday. He suggested on last Thursday that the total amount of fraud in Minnesota could be $9 billion or more. And then, Pat, remember Nick Shirley? He made a video. Humberto, I'll give you a second to bring up Nick Shirley. This guy, Pat, he's one of the best at what he's doing right now. He's not just talking about stuff. He's going on the ground and showing us the fraud, okay? So he went to one of these daycares. And by the way, you're going to laugh. You're not going to believe this, Pat. They spell learning wrong on the daycare sign. And they're receiving, are you ready for this? $1.9 million in tax-exempt funding from CCAP in 2025. It's one of these fraudulent businesses, and the video is going to show, Pat, nobody's even there. Look at how awesome this kid, and look at the work that he's doing. Go ahead, Bert.
Within the government and the Somali population. Here, this building alone, Quality Learning Center, is a daycare, yet they spelled learning wrong, and they said leering. This daycare alone in 2025 has received $1.9 million from the government. And the strange things about these childcare centers is there's no one here right now. It's midday on a weekday. If you were to try to go inside, it's completely closed and the windows are all blacked out. No one's working. Midday, children should be in here, and this place is licensed for 99 children, and this is the outside. There's no windows, no nothing. And like I said, they literally spelled the word wrong on their sign. This is open and blatant fraud taking place here inside of Minnesota. The government is complicit with this, and this is just one of the hundreds of child daycare centers here inside of Minneapolis being ran by the Somali population. It's sad that it's happening here in Minnesota, and it stinks that it's happening, and it's being labeled on the Somali population. However,
so you can pause, Roberto. So Pat, look at like the Somali, we all joke around about the Somali pirates and the, you know, who's the captain now. They're pirating on the water and they're pirating on land in the United States, and it's like, it's over. Like, I'm sick and tired of all this Ilhan Omar and Tim Walz. It's as if they think that we're stupid and they're going to keep directing all, because like you said about the light shining on top of you, Patrick, the light is shining on Minnesota, and they keep questioning Ilhan Omar, and she's like, Trump is this, Trump is racist, Trump is that. And Alberto, if you could cue up another clip, I don't know if you guys saw this. Ilhan Omar is speaking at some event, some fundraiser, I don't know what the hell it is. Pat, you're not going to believe this. She's saying that the president of Somalia, that's her president, not her child. Like, she's saying Somalia is our home, not her childhood home, not her heritage, just straight up, this is our home. This is a United States Congresswoman pledging allegiance to another president in another country. Go ahead and play this.
fursad u helay madaxweynaheena madaxweynaha Soomaaliya madaxweyne
President
Hassan
Hassan Sheikh
Sheikh
Mahmoud.
Mahmoud inaan maanta ku soo dhaweyno
Let's give a warm
Minneapolis.
welcome to Minneapolis. Look at her. The
Aniga iyo
president,
madaxweynaha special relationship aan qabnaa. Aniga adeeraan ugu wacaa asigana gabarteeyu idhahaa.
Wow. Special relationship with an awful lot of you guys.
Madaxweyne sidii qof kasta uu yiri mininkaaga waaye ku soo dhawow Minneapolis. Aad iyo aad aan ugu faraxsanahay in maanta
Our
madaxweynaheena aad tahay.
he's our president.
Somalia
Somalia is
dadka meeshaan wada joogo
our
dhan
home. Then
waa
go back.
gurigooda annaga ma dareensannihin in ay naga tahay meel naga fog. Soomaaliya wadnaheenay ku
The heart-
nooshahay qalbigeenay ku jirtaa maalin kasta aan ka fikirnaa Soomaaliya.
You can stop it, Roberto. Then go back to Somalia. You can stop the video. Go back to Somalia. Okay? Leave. And Pat, when they talk about the enemy within, this is that. This is that. Pledging allegiance to another president, praising your dead. Go back to your country. Go back to your country. Enough with this bashing America, bashing our president, stealing billions of dollars. When is enough going to be enough? Okay, if they kept their mouth shut, if she kept her mouth shut, and Tampon Tim Walz kept his mouth shut, they probably would have got away with this. But your big mouth, all that light that you were talking about is shining on them right now, and she's openly pledging allegiance to another government and to another freaking country. Okay, then get your ass out, get out and leave. Pat, I'm tired of this. America has to be first. At the end of the day, be proud about being who you are. Be proud about being Somalian. Good for you. But you guys are stealing, you're bashing us, and you're taking away from the American people and the tax dollar. When is enough going to be enough, Pat? It's not like she's hiding and saying this. She's out in the open. She's out in the open. And we're letting it happen in Somalia, and it's going to happen. Watch how slowly it's going to start happening. New York, there, you'll see.
Tom.
Yeah, what Vinny said is absolutely correct. It's one thing to say, hey, I'm a Somalian by birth, but I'm an American now. Pat has said that and says, and my heart aches for what's happening in my country because of a natural disaster, revolution, war, whatever it is. It's one thing to say that and say, I am so glad to be in America. I have no quarrel with that. But when you say, this is my president and it's not you, and you are part of a, and by the way, we're just getting warmed up. Remember, this is only one program that they're saying is $18 billion, which half of, which what I read and exactly what they said, half of $9.2 billion so far. This is just one program. And the money is being sent back to you-know-who in Somalia, the terrorist groups. And so you look at it and you're like, wait a minute. It's one thing to have a heart. It's another thing to be basically here like a leech or like a remora following the shark and taking the life from the shark, sending it elsewhere. It's horrible. And this is nothing. I'll tell you who Omar is a big fan of right now. Gavin Newsom. You know why? Because his fraud spotlight is moving the spotlight off hers. It's going to be bigger numbers. And Tampon Tim and Omar are going to be happy when all the fraud, the oxygen in the room on the news cycles is taken up from the California fraud. But this has to stop. But I'll tell you who my heroes are. My heroes are the people that are in the Justice Department and are people that are in Minnesota that are conducting investigations right now. They need our support and they need help. They need additional staffing and they're working hard and people are going to jail. It's just not fast enough or big enough. It's like when they went after the mob and when Giuliani went after the mob in New York, it took time. And when people opened up the door and they turned on the light in the kitchen, they realized it wasn't one roach. Dozens of roaches run when you turn on that light. And this is just the beginning. I am sitting here. I get what Vinny's saying, but my heart goes out to the men and women that are in Minnesota facing professional resistance, professional persecution, trying to do their jobs and clean up the fraudulent mess. They need help. They need the equivalent of the National Guard, which is more Justice Department because these are U.S. dollars, federal dollars that were part of this as well.
Makes sense. And by the way, I think accountability is coming close to them. I think they're going to have to, be able to answer for this, but we'll see what happened there. Let me get to the next story here. Next story I want to get to is Meta made $16 billion from scam ads. By the way, that is nearly 10% of their revenue in 2024. They had $164 billion revenue in 2024, of which 16 billion of it came from fake promoting scams and banned goods on Facebook, which they allow to happen. Meta's own document estimates that platform showed users about $15 billion higher risk scam advertisements per day, meaning ads clearly exhibited signs of fraud. Another internal figure cited around $7 billion of annualized revenue from high risk scam ads, separate from broader projections. I'm going to try to find one of these videos and show it to you guys. Vinny, tell us more about this whole story that came in of the type of money Facebook's making from these scam ads.
So Pat, apparently they figured out a way, very smart but very sketchy way. It's like a business model, okay? They let scams run and do the thing. Then they charge the scammers more to do it. So they show that they made that 60 million that you were talking about. And then when one team tried to stop the Chinese scams, Mark Zuckerberg reportedly, allegedly, pulled the plug after it cut into profit. So the scams kept roaring back. And to top it off, Meta's own algorithm, this is the problem, Pat, targets people most likely to fall for scams. Think about that. They're purposely going after you with the algorithm. So vulnerable users get hit with more junk because it's more profitable. And to make things worse, Meta allegedly had a scam tax, basically higher ad rates for shady accounts. Like what are we talking about here? And not banned, just tax. So Meta expects billions in fines, but they don't care, Pat. You know why? It's all baked into the plan. And this, it reminded me of why Mark Zuckerberg, because think about his history. Think about Mark Zuckerberg's history and why all of a sudden he's like, I'm going to donate for Trump, because, you know, this is once Trump was going to win, Pat. I'm going to donate to Trump. Mark Zuckerberg is one of the reasons Joe Biden won. He spent how much? $400 million on Zuckerbucks, everything on Facebook, everything on Instagram was trashing President Trump, banning people from doing this, banning people from doing that, trying to like stifle the freaking people's voice. And now all of a sudden we're finding out that it's baked into the program where he knows he's going to get fined $4 billion, but they're making 16 billion. So this, I don't care how much, and I've said this before, I don't care how much Zuckerberg is going to the gym. I don't care how many UFC fights he's going to. I don't care how many dinners he goes to at the White House. He's still, in my opinion, doing this scam artist BS, and I don't like it at all, Pat. On top of all the other stuff that they've been going through in Congress with all the underage, kids watching like content that's not appropriate for them. It's like enough with this guy. Enough is enough. Like I'm done with them. It's all scams. Everybody's scamming everybody. From Minnesota to California.
Well, I'll give you, words talk, numbers scream, and I'll give you some firsthand data on this. Our own internal legal group at Valuetainment that works with Valuetainment merch and works with contracts for the Vault conference. It's a normal legal group that any company would have. They have an unbelievable amount of cease and desist letters that go out every month on fake VT merch. We want you to get the best quality, so always go to vtmerch.com. That's not a commercial, that's a reality. We don't want you to be disappointed. People send us emails and say, hey, I didn't get this, I didn't get that. And so where'd you order from? Well, there's this thing on Instagram and this thing on Facebook. We're like, wait a minute. Those aren't us. And so we're having to track it down and knock it down. And we're working really hard on it because this is our own customers. This reflects on us. So the scam goods end up reflecting on the good companies that may be selling something because the scammers are selling knockoffs. Or worse, selling stuff in the US you shouldn't be selling at all. The slow return of Silk Road, if you will, in little pockets. But then you turn the eye the other cheek. Let me tell you, history repeats itself. Broadcast television had trouble with 1-800 and 1-900 numbers that would advertise their stuff, on late night TV. You would watch the, Letterman, or you watch Leno, and then late night TV, and all of a sudden you would see the things for kitchen appliances and stuff. And a lot of that stuff was junk and was knockoff, and it wouldn't ship to people. And the people would reach out trying to get help. But you know who's cashing the check for the ads to be put on? The TV stations, and radio stations. So there's been a long-standing kind of one-eye closed relationship that media has had with companies that are trying to come sell stuff. And it's one of the reasons I'm going to compliment Pat right here. And you can put it in the chat and say, oh, you've been friends too long, everything. No, I'm going to tell you the truth. There's a reason why we don't have 10 sponsors here hawking stuff, because we want to be careful about purity. That's it. And we are actually trying to make sure that our knockoff stuff gets taken off the market. So when people buy stuff from us, they're getting the real deal, the authentic thing. And when we help charities, or we say we're helping charity, when they bought something, it's going to that charity because it's really us.
Humberto, can you hear him?
Can you guys hear me or no? Can you hear me
Now
now?
we can. Did you hit the mute button or something?
I just had it on mute, but I'm gonna show you something.
Okay, go ahead.
I just went on Instagram and I looked at all the video messages that I got. I typed in fake ads in my message box, right? If I tell you I found 800 messages, it's a small number of people saying this is fake. And I kept saying, report to Facebook that it's fake. The video is still not down today when it was reported in May or April by 500 plus people. Watch this video. It's still live. You tell me what it takes for someone to know that this is a fake ad. Go ahead, Humberto. I can't hear it, Humberto. Volume. Humberto, we can't hear it. So whatever you're doing from your end, I'm just going to run it from this side because I can't hear what it's saying. So
Yeah, no audio.
yeah, no audio on mine either. So let me just play it for you from here. Listen to this, folks.
The next 90 days will make millionaires in 2025. These are the top 3 stocks to buy in a turbulent market. I guarantee that some of them will surprise you. You don't need to rush to act or buy immediately. You can join my group to see my real investment cases. For example, the Palantir stock I shared in the group before has risen by more than 300% in half a year. I don't charge any fees, and if my advice doesn't meet your expectations, you can withdraw at any time. Next 90
By the way, check this out. You know what the handle is? The handle is called PBD stock. I don't do stock recommendations. It says PBD stock. And
yeah, this is pump and dump in the new world.
Facebook knows this is happening. And it's been reported by so many people that are saying this is fake. And I say, report, it's not me. Report, it's not me. Do you know how many people fell for some of these stocks? A guy messages me pissed off saying, give me my $150,000 back. I said, what $150,000? He said, I bought Bitcoin from you. I said, I never talk about buying Bitcoin. He says, yes. I said, that's not. So I call him directly. I said, I don't know who you're talking to. Show me the information. He goes through the whole thing. I said, that's not our website. I said, go back to the domain. Click all the way at the top. I said, that's fake. Look at the domain. And he says, ah, shit. I said, we wouldn't do stuff like this. Always bring. So he's like, man, this has happened. The fact that Facebook knows this is happening and you're not, that's criminal to me. And by the way, I've been complimentary of Mark the last, 8 months, 12 months. I'm disgusted by this. I'm absolutely disgusted by the fact that Facebook would allow these types of ads to go. What dummy does it take to know that's a fake ad? What does Mark Wahlberg had to post something and saying, I don't have a Bitcoin class. People were buying Bitcoins from Mark Wahlberg, where Mark Wahlberg had to say, if anything comes to you saying I'm a Bitcoin expert, I'm not. Don't buy anything from me. So it's very disappointing that Facebook knowingly didn't do anything about this, and the users took a hit on this. Adam, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, we hear about these bots, and I'm always like, what the hell is a bot? And I did a little research. They're just fake program computers that are set up to click things and like things. And then it got me thinking to another thing. So Facebook gets paid. Meta gets paid.
No matter what.
When fake bots click ads or click things. So this is a business model. They're like, yeah, we don't even care, because my assumption, could be wrong, it probably costs more to enforce these rules and remove the bots and do something about it than it costs to actually crack down on these things. So like, the reason you're upset is because what the hell are they doing about this? We're living in the internet world and we have bots running our lives. The comments, the clicks, they're getting paid regardless. So you talked about the guy that $150,000. I'll never forget our friend here who's now running the cigar lounge. One time we're eating at Casa D'Angelo, the restaurant joint. He goes, hey, Adam, I bought your product. I was like, what product did you buy? Your money thing. I bought it. I go, I'm not selling anything. This is a person who knows me in real life.
Yeah.
I won't say his name. We know who I'm talking about with the accent.
$200. $200. I remember.
I was like, what? I'm like, you could just talk to me. He's like, I did it online. I go, no, that wasn't me, bro. But how many stories like that exist? How many fake accounts out there? How many fake crypto stuff going out there? But they're cashing checks. So until people actually revolt, we're going to be dealing with this for a long time.
Watch this. Here's another guy. I'm just going through the messages looking at this. The guy says, Pat, they're running fake ads on you, okay? So I respond back and I said, their post popped up on my profile. I think it's a fake page. Just want to let you know. I respond back and I said, it's super fake. We as a team have tried to ban them, but Facebook keeps approving their ads. You know when this is? July 6th of this year. That page is still up. July 6th of this year. What a shame. What an absolute shame that you allow stuff like this to happen, and you have all this technology to be able to match them and know what's going on. Anyways.
And PBD, with us, with such a big platform, if we can't get shit done, imagine the average person out there, their frustration.
No question. It's extremely
inexcusable.
It's inexcusable. Let me get to the next story here with Megyn Kelly and Bari Weiss with some of the messages that's gone back and forth. So Megyn Kelly teases that there's more truth coming about Bari Weiss while confirming they are no longer friends, okay? And I'll read both of these stories and see what's going on here. And I think this is something we need to be talking about. So let's go through this. Megyn Kelly has declared that there's more truth coming about regarding CBS News editor-in-chief Bari Weiss. Kelly, 55, made the claim this is a Daily Mail story in a cryptic post message on X after launching a shocking broadside against Weiss. 41 this week in an interview with Vanity Fair. Humberto, if you have a clip on that, prepare us for it. Kelly told the magazine that Weiss and another former friend, Ben Shapiro, were unwittingly fueling a recent rise in anti-Semitism by clamping down on certain rhetoric. Weiss shared a speech Shapiro gave at Turning Point USA America Fest on Thursday that criticized conservatives for not disavowing Candace Owens on her new site, the Free Press, a few days before. The speech singled out Kelly specifically, and the Free Press piece was titled, Only Cowards Tolerate Conspiracy Theorists. Bari Weiss calling Megyn Kelly a coward. If you read the code language, that's what it sounds like. The characterization was clearly on Kelly's mind Tuesday as she responded to an inquiry from a Frank Luntz pollster about the tone of the Vanity Fair piece. Given she and Weiss were once friends, I was reliably informed this week that it is cowardly not to call out your friends. Not to call out your friends with the unvarnished truth about their defects, Kelly wrote, making a reference to how Shapiro 41 accused her of cowardice in his own speech. So my days of being polite friend are over, and there's more truth coming. This is Megyn Kelly saying to that. And then Bari Weiss, I'll read the next story of what happened here. Bari Weiss, a very public break with Megyn Kelly came after Kelly quietly rebuffed weeks of behind-the-scenes lobbying to appear in CBS debate with Call Her Daddy podcaster Alex Cooper. According to a report, Weiss courted Kelly to take part in a high-profile feminism debate at CBS News, prepared to roll out a new town hall series under Weiss's leadership. Vanity Fair reported Kelly declined a rejection that preceded Weiss's decision to promote Ben Shapiro's on-stage broadside. Weiss took to social media and amplified Ben Shapiro's speech. Owens, the influential podcaster, made a name for herself of Shapiro's Daily Wire. Kelly, okay. So anyways, Vinny, I'm going to come to you first, okay? And then, actually, Tom, let me see here. Give me a second, guys. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. Tom, I'm going to come to you first, and then I'll go to Adam, then Vinny. When you see this here with Bari Weiss, Megyn Kelly, a week ago was Ben Shapiro, Megyn Kelly are no longer friends. A week later is Bari Weiss and Megyn Kelly are no longer friends. What do you think about these issues that are taking place on the conservative? I don't even know if I put Bari Weiss as a conservative. She's probably a libertarian independent. What do you think about the feud that's taking place?
Well, the crowd is fracturing, and it may be fracturing for what each person feels is good and right reasons from their own perspective, but they're not unifying behind a common enemy, nor are they coming together and moderating behind it. You look behind each one of them, and you know, Bari Weiss, you kind of know she came from Free Press, you know, big payday, Now she's supposed to drive CBS. There's a lot of things she can and can't do at CBS. She took an executive producer decision a week ago I thought was strong that said, hey, man, I want to make sure stories are complete. And the rest of the media didn't respect her editor-in-chief position because they wanted her to run with a story that was anti-Trump. Now, what did she do with that? Only she knows, and she needs to say more about it. On the other hand, you've got Ben Shapiro, who we know what he's all about. We know his Israel stance. And then you have Megyn Kelly. Actually, I think there's a degree of authenticness going on with Megyn Kelly about, what? If this is the way it's going to be, maybe I don't have friends over here or over there. Maybe she's coming out more of a Walter Cronkite. I don't know, but it's concerning to me that there's not a unified platform. You can at least unify on a platform and get beyond your differences. And right now, people are fracturing, and it's not going to help for midterms. And I don't think it's, I don't think it's healthy to a unified message. This is crying out for someone to kind of moderate in the middle and get all these kids together. They're looking for a Phil Jackson. The conservative movement doesn't know it, but it's looking for a Phil Jackson that can make Scottie Pippen play with Dennis Rodman, one of the most gifted defenders of all time, but an absolute handful. But guess what? The right coach got him to work well with the team, and they won championships. That's what I see coming here in the bigger picture.
Okay, Adam, thoughts?
So Megyn Kelly has a massive voice, but Bari Weiss now has power. She's running CBS, is she not? And she just got a check for $100-something million for her daily press. To me, this comes down to Megyn Kelly's going to learn a lesson that, you stand in the middle, you're going to get run over. You're going to have to pick a side. So everyone wants to shit on Ben Shapiro. Oh, he's Jewish. He's pro-Israel. All right, forget about that. Let's just call a spade here. Who's attacking Candace Owens these days? Everybody. The most notorious conspiracy theorist of all time, Alex Jones, is now dedicating his sole life mission to exposing the bullshit that Candace parrots every single day. Alex Jones, ladies and gentlemen. Alex Jones is now calling her Black Q, like QAnon. Alex Jones. Think about that for a second. Next person, the most logical actor, I think, at the Daily Wire, non-emotional, is Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh just eviscerated Candace Owens. By the way, step by step by step by step with a scalpel. And he says, by the way, I'm still friends with Candace, but damn, is she wrong. Andrew Colbert came out there and basically denied that there was anything to do with Bibi Netanyahu on $150 million. So at some point, Candace is going to have to look in the mirror and be like, there's nobody with me except for literal Israel haters or moms who are bust out their popcorn and watch this like I watched Scooby-Doo when I was a kid. That's it. So at some point, Candace is going to look in the mirror and be like, yeah, nobody's with me anymore. It started with Tim Pool and maybe myself, but now you got Alex Jones calling you out? Lady, read the room. Now, Tucker Carlson, they love him in the conservative movement. That's great. But Tucker Carlson is his new name. What is this Qatar bullshit? You don't have to be friends with Israel. You don't have to like Israel. I don't care. But to try to twist the narrative and be like, guys, Qatar's our friend. Qatar is a terrorist sympathizing oil-rich kingdom that's buying out. It already bought Europe and it's attempting to buy America. And Tucker just pretends that we're not going to notice what BS he's spewing. If Tucker said the other day, listen, I buy a house in Qatar because I respect them. I buy a house in Qatar because I like what they're doing. But to say you buy a house in Qatar because you're an American, buddy, buy a house in Detroit, buy a house in Boston. To me, that's absolute BS. Now, the last point is this. This all comes down to Turning Point USA, the speeches that were given. So here are the numbers based on Turning Point. You don't have to believe it or not. This is Blake Neff, I believe is his name, showing the numbers within Turning Point, how they feel about Israel. I would love to not talk about Israel. I have like people have Trump derangement syndrome. People have Israel derangement syndrome. Love to not talk about Israel, but they want to keep talking about it. Here are the numbers. 33% of the conservatives at Turning Point say Israel is the top ally, 1/3. 53% say Israel is one of the top allies. And then you have this fringe movement, 13%, who says Israel's not an ally. Good luck with the fringe. Forget about the fringe. Root out the cancer, and let's focus on conservatives. And here's the big kicker. Winning the midterms, because the real enemy is the radical left that wants to burn down America, that is teaming up with the Islamic right. The red and green merger, the strange bedfellows of Marxist Islamists, that's the real enemy, not the conservatives that you may disagree with.
Vinny, thoughts?
And I think I said this last week. Again, all roads, this all comes to criticizing Israel. If you saw the last video with Megyn Kelly and Charlie Kirk, God rest his soul, when it was like, can you believe this, Megyn? They're calling me, Charlie Kirk, an anti-Semite, and her as well. And by the way, these are the two biggest Zionists. They got attacked, Adam, because they dared to criticize Israel. And here's the problem with that. We, everybody, conservatives, we bash America, we bash Mexico, we bash the UK, we bash Chile, Venezuela, we bash everybody. Why does Israel think they get a free pass? And that's the one problem, Adam. I criticize everybody, but why is it that if you criticize Israel, you're anti-Semitic, the ADL goes after you? That word has been thrown around so much. It's like calling Trump Hitler. Hitler has lost its sting. It's like, just because they want to criticize doesn't mean they hate Jews as a freaking whole. That's the disconnect. You can criticize Israel. I've criticized Israel. Do I think that we need them and they're very freaking where they are, especially strategic to the United States? Of course. You can't be that blind and that stupid for your hatred for the government to hate the people as a whole. That's like me criticizing BB Adam, but you're saying, oh, then I hate all Jews. That means I hate Adam. No. And then calling to deplatform is stupid. And I just think too, the voices that are pushing this movement, bro, you know why Ben Shapiro's losing so many freaking subscribers and followers? Do you know why Mark Levin, bro, Rabbi Shmuley, they need a freaking internal cleansing of just these voices that are not popular. Bari Weiss, I like. She's actually doing her thing. She's wedging in there. She's doing it. She's successful. She's not sit there saying, deplatform this and take away this and do that. That's the problem I think that we're seeing, because Megyn Kelly, bro, she's pissed off because she's successful. She knows what she's doing. She doesn't want to be told what to do. You shouldn't talk to this person. You shouldn't talk to that person. That's why I think the disconnect is, Pat. It's the taboo of even trying to criticize Israel. I get what you're saying, Adam. The whole Israel killed Charlie, all that. Put all that nonsense, soap opera BS, Canada stuff to the side. You have to be able to criticize. You have to be able to let people state their case. Just like when Pat had on Nick Fuentes. Good. Let him talk. Let these people talk. If we're free speech absolutists, I want to hear them. I don't want to deplatform them. Let them talk and let the market decide. That's where I'm at, Pat.
Well, can I respond to one thing?
No, Adam. Yeah. Let me say a couple thoughts because we're getting to the end of it. So here's what I would say to you. Remember, this is not a Tucker Candace story. This is a Bari Weiss, Megyn Kelly story.
Yes.
I want to stay focused on the Bari Weiss, Megyn Kelly story, staying there. Okay. So, Megyn Kelly, Bari Weiss, these two, what role did they play in Trump winning in 2024? Bari Weiss was formerly with New York Times. Who went and did the Twitter files? Who was part of Twitter files? Who would have named the people that did Twitter files?
Matt Taibbi, Schellenberger, Michael Schellenberger, Elon Musk.
And Bari Weiss. Bari Weiss was part of Twitter files.
Mm-hmm.
If you go look at the reports that was coming in, she was one of the ones that, by the way, this is a woman that was a liberal. This is a woman that is not by the way, is she straight?
I don't know if she's straight, but she definitely was the editor, I think, at the New York Times, and she wrote basically a Jerry Maguire type letter, basically saying, "I can't stand for this nonsense."
Yeah,
at New York Times.
So here's the way I see it, right? Here's the way I see it. Let me just verify this. I don't want to start rumors, and we don't know what's going on. I thought I had read somewhere of where she's at. There's no public very public. Okay, got it. So there's nothing on her sexual orientation, but I don't know if I've where she's at on her personal life. Did she play an important role in Trump winning? Yes. Did Megyn Kelly play an important role? Don't forget when Megyn Kelly reunited with the president and went on stage with him And she came up. Remember that message when
Of
Megyn
course.
Kelly came up? And it was like, because all we think about Megyn Kelly and then Trump is what? Only Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah.
Mr. President. No, that's not true. Because she came out hard with that being the first opening question. So guess what? Megyn Kelly, made up with the president, and it was great. Bari Weiss played a very important role on helping the president win. I can give a lot of different names. I think here's what's going on, and a few things that everybody needs to be okay with. It's okay to debate issues. You guys remember for me, it was like when we're negotiating with China, and I said, listen, if I was the president and I'm dealing with China and we're doing anything with tariffs, I would say the following. You got to allow Facebook, YouTube, and X to be in China. No, I'm not going to let you. Okay, great. Then guess what? You don't have free press. So I don't know what you're doing to your people. I don't know how people are working. I don't know if you have all these sweatshops. I don't know how you're making people work for such little money. You have to give us free press. No, I'm not going to do it. No problem. Then we can't do certain things together. Guess what? Israel, you're our ally. We've done a lot for you. You've done your fighting in the Middle East. Don't get me wrong. You got a very good intel agency. But what happened to those 260 journalists? Why don't you allow people to open up and share different stories? Why not? You're above that? What, you need to have immunity over that? I don't think so. So I think there's a place there to challenge that part too. We can debate that. Then we can also debate the fact that, would you say most of these Ivy League presidents are pro-Israel? No. Well, what were they doing? You think they're for Israel? No. Well, what do you think they were allowing to do? Destroying your schools and universities, and all these people are giving you all this support, and you're not taking all this money from China, and you're taking money from these guys that hate America, and then those kids who are Jewish going to school should also not feel worried and afraid. That's not okay. We should debate that as well. We should debate America only, America first. We should debate these things. And by the way, to all these players, you're all important. Everybody is playing an important role. FYI, everybody is bought. Let me explain what I mean by that. Some are bought by whoever they work for, which is, Sirius XM or Spotify, whatever it is. Some are bought by countries like Qatar that are giving them money. I don't know who those people are, but we know for a fact they're playing the game. Some are bought by George Soros. Some are bought by Israel. Some are bought by big private equity firms. And you know who some people are bought by? Their customers.
Yep.
And let me say this to you. You are our customers, okay? You are our listeners. Everybody has their loyalty to somebody and something. We're trying to be loyal to our truth and what we believe is important to us. I'm a Christian man. This is what I am, okay? I'm married. I got 4 kids. I love America. This country changed my life. It invited me in. Do you know what happens when somebody invites you in as a guest? I'm a guest here. I wasn't born here. I'm grateful for everything this country gave me. But I'm a guest. I'm not going to get it twisted and not realize that I'm a guest here. And I took advantage of the opportunities America gave me. And I would like this place to stay as the greatest country in the world. That's going to take a lot of work and effort. But there's also another part with this, Tom, that I believe is going on today. It kind of goes back to that story about the grandma that left a note. The grandma that left a note. There's a
bigger purpose.
I wish Charlie would have done a 10-hour recording and set it aside to play for Republicans and conservatives if in case he were to die, to give a unifying message, Vinny.
Yeah.
And in a movie, Ultimate Gift, Jim Stovall writes this book. Red Stevens in the book dies a billionaire, but he records 13 videos and he plays the video saying, if you're watching this, it's because I'm dead and my lawyer is playing this video for you. And it's all his family members and relatives are watching this conversation. So when you see this, what do you take notice? Here's what you take notice. Right now, Republican Party is divided. Why? Nobody's bringing them together. And there's this competition. Wait a minute. Is Bari Weiss now more powerful than Megyn Kelly? Yes, she is. Say whatever you want to say. She is more powerful. She built a business that CBS bought from her. Megyn Kelly is a content creator, and she's phenomenal at it. She's probably the modern day closest thing we have in America today to Walter Cronkite. That's Megyn Kelly, but that's the positioning. Bari Weiss became an operator, a manager, an executive, a CEO, an entrepreneur managing employees and other people. That's a lot of work. That's not easy to do. So that's the part where Bari Weiss can kind of, she's both the interviewer and the content creator and the manager. She's becoming a power player. You can say whatever you want to say. She's becoming a massive power player, and the market's going to change in the next 2 or 3 years. Some people are not happy about that. There's an element of when you watch Inside the NBA and when people say, I cannot believe what these players are getting paid today. I cannot believe this name. Nobody even knows what this guy's name is. He got paid a $212 million contract. They did. They're making a lot of money. I cannot believe that other guy's doing this, this, and that. And Durant made all this money in his investments. Yes, he did. You can as well. So there's this element of envy and competition that's also going on. But you just have to realize you got to give credit to the guys that are doing big things. If Bari Weiss built a business and somebody cut a check for it, good for you. I celebrate it. If Megyn Kelly got a $100 million contract tomorrow from SiriusXM or what, if Joe Rogan got a $500 million contract, Charlemagne, the guy got a $200 million contract with iHeartMedia. I don't know how the hell iHeart's going to pay that when they got $3.5 billion of debt, but they're going to pay $200 million over 5 years, $40 million a year. If Stephen A. Smith gets a $120 million contract, a multi contract, if Pat McAfee gets a $127 million contract, celebrate it. It's great. They're kicking ass. We don't have a problem with that. But this next phase is going to be very interesting. And I hope eventually, while we hash through all these things that we're going through, somebody steps up and finds a way to call a meeting for everyone to come together. Anyways, we are at the end of it, of the topics that we covered here today. We went 30 minutes over. Folks, for those of you guys that are with us, let me see this here. For those of you guys that are with us, the 26,000 that are still live with us right now, after an hour and 20 minutes of podcast, a day after Christmas, which we started at 7 a.m., which means California was 6 a.m., and last night you probably stayed up late watching movies, hanging out with the family, and you're still here with us. You're a true PBD podcast viewers, and we appreciate you. We're grateful for you guys. And look what you did. You even made a Jew put on Merry Christmas. I mean, you know this is the end of it. And that is taking place, right?
Yeah.
I love my Christians. I love them all.
Yeah. Anyways, gang, Merry Christmas. Enjoy the weekend. We will do this again Monday morning podcast, and then we'll be back alive physically in our office next week. God bless everybody. Enjoy your weekend. We'll do it again next week. Merry Christmas, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.